right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I'm your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? I am actually joined by a good friend, Melted Mind Media. Welcome to the party. What is going on, brother?
What's up, Lutch? How you doing today, buddy?
Pretty good. Before we dive in, let's say thank you to my6shirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. Who we got in the building? We got Jeff in the building. What's going on? We got Zippy in the building. How are we doing, guys? How are we doing? So yes, you guys know that whenever we're going to be talking about pew pews, I need some help. And so we have a good friend here. Many of you know him, but for those of you who don't, why don't you tell them who are you, what do you do, and where can they find you?
I'm Melted Mind Media, and I help you fight the media that melts your mind. And you can find me on YouTube at Melted Mind Media and on Twitter at Melted Mind Media.
Beautiful. All right. So you guys see the thumbnail. They are coming for the pew pews. Now we're not specifically going over anything, like in the news that there's, new trying to come out, but they're always trying to take your guns. And we do have, for the replay gang, we have a random poll. I didn't really know what to do with this one. So I just asked, which is better, an AR-15 or a Glock? No other context, just put in the comments below which one is better. Right now, Glock is ahead, but it is early. We got some comments already. Jeff saying the only reasonable gun control is to remember to squeeze the trigger, not pull the trigger. All right, fair enough. Zippy said, it's like with Vice, drugs and Smash Martian. There's no real reasonable control because government is a constant slow slide into corruption and tyranny. Absolutely. So, we have a video here that it was from, it's a little while ago, 6 months old. And we're not going to watch the whole thing. There's just a couple pieces here that I really want to have more of a discussion. But I figured this was a great way to lead it off. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. Said Leah says hi. Well, hello to Leah. Welcome. So if you guys had seen this panel, they're not like as you would maybe expect with Vice being just bringing in people who don't know anything about guns and being like, guns are scary and we need to ban them all and da. Surprisingly, that's not what they did. A lot of these people are a little bit more on the liberal side, but they all are gun owners. So it is a gun owners and users debate. And so we are going to jump in near the end where they are talking about red flag laws. Real quick, just right off the bat, Melty, any thoughts on red flag laws?
Yeah, they're obviously I don't think they're a good idea for gun control because if anyone can just you're a semi big person, right? Let's say you had a firearm and someone that didn't like you at all called the cops and said, I think this guy's going to go crazy and go shoot a place up. And they come and take your weapon just because of what that person says.
Yeah, that's weak. I'm not about it. Now, there's definitely a conversation to be had about where to, or rather, is there something that should kind of override the Second Amendment? Things like, being a violent criminal and things like that. But I don't know if I trust just random people to be making those distinctions. Shout out to Daniel Cabrera. Welcome to the party. Zippy says, red flag is like throwing you in jail on suspension. It's bad. Very bad. All right. Well, let's see what these. They're not all liberal, but I think they got they got a good mix of people who do understand. Like I said, usually when we have these types of conversations, it's just people who don't know anything versus people who know something, and that's not what we have here. And so definitely check out the full debate. But they might be saying one last thing about mass pupillings, but they're getting into the red flag laws. As always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Than the amount of boyfriends who kill their girlfriends now.
I want to bring it back to the gun question because we keep talking about mental health, and there are specific laws that deal with this. Red flag laws. If someone has a mental health crisis, those laws exist to try to take the gun away from that person before they commit a crime. How do we feel about that?
I'm pretty pro red flag laws. I understand that these laws should be implemented very carefully. There's a lot that goes into the rules portion of passing these bills that should be very well thought out. But I think the overarching question needs to become, do you agree that people who are in certain situations should have guns or not? But I personally think that there are characteristics you can meet, there are situations you can be in where, yeah, I do not want you owning a gun.
And that's, you know, right there. That's a fair point. There is a line where we do want to draw where there is a place where we do want to draw that line. Oh, real quick, shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. And with the $2 super chat, said red flag laws equal legal swatting. And yeah, that really seems to be where it is. He was just in my lap. Where'd he go? All right, Morty, come here. Yeah, there we go. All right. We got him. There you go. From Unwanted Foe. He said, thank you so much. And yeah, I agree. I think there is, like I said, there are people in society who should not have should not have access to guns. But this ain't it. So let's see what they got to say.
I think the question is not so much whether or not people should have guns in certain situations. I think most people would agree, there are certain people who should not have guns. But I think the question is more so, will the United States of America truly take away guns from those that need to have their guns taken away?
Hell yeah. And
we know they will. They've been trying to nonstop. Why wouldn't they? Shout out to Amanda. Welcome to the party. It's still at work. All right, you work hard, girl. Welcome. Daniel says a common sense gun law is to look at the Second Amendment and read the words "shall not be infringed" and then sit on a ballot. Fair enough. Hey, shout out to Zippy the Strange. Before I even got to the sponsor, both of you now are the new sponsors of the stream. All right, here you go, Mort. You don't even have to jump for it now. See, when you sit here, then thank you so much. All right, so let's just dive right in, and thank you to you guys being the new sponsors of the stream.
And I think the answer to that question is no. The United States of America has very easily labeled people criminal that they should not be labeling criminal. And they're more concerned about profiting off of that label than they are actually preventing violence. And so the question is not so much should red flag laws exist. The question is more so, will the United States of America actually enforce the law the way it needs to be enforced? And no, the United States will not.
I'm curious who.
So that's an interesting perspective there. That she's in favor. She's in favor of the laws, but she doesn't think that the government would actually follow up on it. That's very odd to me.
I think what she was saying was that she doesn't trust the laws. Like she doesn't trust the government, like that they will label the right people criminals. For the law. So let's say how they're doing now, a person that defends himself at their store or someone that defends their home, they can be arrested and charged even though they're defending themselves. I think that might be what she's talking about in there.
All right, that makes a little more sense. Because like I said, these people are understand probably even better than I do about a lot of this stuff. So all right, let's just back this up one second.
America actually enforce the law the way it needs to be enforced. And no, the United States will not.
I'm curious, who are the people who you think shouldn't have guns? You say there are certain people. What do you have in mind?
Well, I certainly think plenty of right-wing ideologues should not have guns.
And this is why we can't have red flag laws. Anybody who disagrees with me, you have to be super liberal. But then I'm also going to post a TikTok about how all the men are so soy. Crazy.
Well, it's imagine if Republicans were okay, I don't think Democrats should have guns. Democrats would be going crazy. They'd be going crazy.
Exactly. Zippy to Strange says government cannot be trusted. Lethos Law did a video on ambulance drivers having to pay red light tickets. Government paying fines to the government. What indeed? Daniel says no, they won't if they were interested in that a felon would get all of their rights back after serving their time. And by that, I mean the right to vote and the right to bear arms at the minimum. I completely agree with that. Where do you fall on felons getting those rights back?
I think definitely depending on the crime, like in the situation of the crime. Let's say you get a drug charge or something like that, and you didn't have possession. I think you can. I think we had this discussion last time. If you have a felony and it's not a violence related crime or domestic related crime, you can get your gun.
Right. But specifically, if you like, let's say you were an armed robber and you're in jail for a good amount of time, let's say 10 years.
Yeah, I think people can definitely be rehabilitated into the society, and I think they can definitely learn, especially if they grew up with a bad life and they learn more skills in prison and they get out and have a job, and they have more value to society. I think they could definitely get their firearms back to defend what value they give to the society.
Very fair. But that brings up the question of, like, should it be automatic or should there be a process that you have to go through to regain those rights? I think I would be okay with there being a process. Like, you don't automatically get them back. With violent crimes I'm talking about, then you have the opportunity, but it'll be dependent on, like, if you were in gangs and shanking motherfuckers way early. If you're shanking people and stuff like that, then maybe that should go towards the decision. But if you're a model citizen, then I don't really see a problem with that. Excuse me. Daniel says you have to petition for it, but why do you have to petition? You served your time, you paid your debt, and that's the other side of the coin, of course. And I think that it is reasonable. Now, whether you agree with it or not, you can certainly understand why some people don't want felons to have firearms. That's, clearly, even if you disagree, you can see the logic. Like, oh, okay, this is a person who has demonstrated that they're going to break the laws in a violent way. So the reasoning is there, and I don't really see why it should be. I don't think it needs to be some crazy thing that you need to go through, that you need to be perfect. I mean, in the same way that when you get out of prison, you've served your time, you paid your debt, but you still, a lot of people will be on probation or parole. And I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I honestly think giving it back, I think Zippy's right. Giving it back automatically would be a good idea, because, like, let's say if you file for it and the government's like, oh, it's going to be 5 years because we have so many to do. And it's like, just like kind of how the court system's messed up. Like, it has to go through the courts. It could take a while. So maybe you should just get it automatically back.
Parole is a fair tiebreaker. Tiebreaker for what? Saying, like, if you're on, well, I don't know what you mean by this.
Like, yeah.
And so then maybe it would be, unless this is what you mean, Zippy, that part of getting out of prison, you're on a probationary period where you do get those rights back, but maybe you have to check in with an officer and whatever, just making sure that you're, saying, if you're on parole, no guns for you, but once parole is done, once you're completely out of the system, you should automatically get those rights back. And I mean, if the recidivism rates weren't so high, I'd be a lot quicker to say, just give the rights back. I don't know. I know it's constitutional, but it changes the game when you use these types of weapons to hurt people, or even if you're not using weapons, when you've decided to go out there and hurt people, that really does change things. But let's see. She was saying she was doing good with the, we got to test the right people, but let's see.
Right-wing
on her list.
ideologues.
People who should not have.
Well, I certainly think plenty of right-wing ideologues should not have guns. I think plenty of violently anti-trans people should not have guns. I think violent misogynists should not have guns. I think violent racists should not have guns. I think those who have the audacity to believe in ideology that is, in fact, an incredible danger to most of us who are in society that do not look like them.
So she's saying, I don't think these people should have the rights to have guns, but that's because they don't think other people should have the rights to have guns?
Basically. Well, if you adhere to an ideology that's so crazy, then obviously you can't be trusted with guns. Like
dogmatic thinking?
Bingo. Nail on the head. Zippy says, if the court system worked, I'd say you could test people, but parole can be the tiebreaker. Yeah, that seems fair. Daniel says, again, that's a blame the government moment. I believe it was the 70s where they decided that rehabilitation was no longer the prime function of the jail and prison system. Bingo. I meant to hit the ding, but bingo works as well. I mean, it used to be that we wanted rehabilitation. It used to be that we wanted that retribution was part of it. But we wanted to make people better. Now, I'll talk like when I'm doing my dog training, sometimes it's appropriate to set up a system where we have a timeout for a dog, similar like you would be in jail, but not quite the same. But essentially, the idea being if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, you are separated. But as soon as you're acting cool, then you can come right back in. And the idea is to rehabilitate the understanding of how you're supposed to behave. That's crazy. Right.
Should not have access to guns.
You shouldn't have access to guns.
So this legislation, the question is, who do we have drawing it up? The people who never owned a gun or the people that have owned guns? What's the right answer? I don't have that. I think everyone should have a right to carry a gun, but we've touched on it. If you're a violent person, you shouldn't have it. Domestic violence history, shouldn't have it. Drug trafficking, sex trafficking, because a lot of times in the law enforcement world, when you have a lot of drugs,
he talks like a cop.
You end up having a couple guns. If you're sex trafficking, there's someone probably with a gun.
How are we going to make sure bias isn't playing a part? The people who are enforcing the red flag laws, there are some elitist people in this country who feel like, well, only we should be protected by firearms.
Yeah, they're called Democrats.
Hillary Clinton.
Yup.
They should mount machine guns for January 6th on the freaking, what was that? Oh my gosh, she wanted to have the National Guard mount machine guns during January 6th.
She's crazy. I can't believe I voted for that woman. Oh my God. Never let me live that down. I know you guys won't anyway, but
it's going to be on your tombstone, buddy.
I bet.
The onus should not be on our government. I think as a society, as an adult in this country, there should be some responsibility in knowing yourself and being able to identify when you are okay, when you're not okay. So I think we need to figure out a way to give the people the tools they need to identify themselves. Hey, I'm not okay. Hey, I don't need to have my firearms right now. Hey, I probably am going to hurt myself or someone else, and then provide the resources to do that.
All right. But who's going to do that? First of all, the idea of these red flag laws is that the person either doesn't want to give up their guns or doesn't know that they need to give up their guns, assuming we're accepting that premise. I was with her for a while, but just let people decide. Well, if the girl who is sitting right in front of you would decide, she thinks a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But she doesn't think that she thinks crazy stuff. In fact, she thinks that reality in and itself is crazy and is enough for you to believe in reality. You should have your guns taken away. So I don't see that happening.
That sounds great in theory. In reality, though, that's not going to happen every time. And I'm curious what you think is the threshold where somebody should say, you can't have a gun anymore.
I don't think that decision should hinge on one person or just an attorney or just a judge or just a mental health professional.
He didn't say, what do you think it shouldn't be? He said, what do you think it should be?
As I've seen in a lot of these red flag instances, these people never get their firearms back. Well, if my mental health is declined this day or this month is tough for me, but then, I go to therapy or I fix myself and I'm better months from now, I should have my rights restored. You can't keep them forever, right?
Yeah. What are you saying?
Or never at all. You're not. Yeah. Someone just called the cops on you because they saw you outside and you dropped a carton of eggs and went, mother effer, and then you threw them on the ground because you broke them. And then all of a sudden they're like, this guy's going crazy in his front yard. And then they're like, oh, he has weapons. And they come to your house and take your guns away.
I mean, thinking of the Karen mentality and then giving those people the power to say, oh, not only do I already not like guns, but I now have the power to get more guns off the street. I don't even think it would be they would think that it would be underhanded. I think that if these red flag laws were passed, they would see it as a duty to use them to fix the world, like that girl is saying. Zibby says it's not unreasonable if it's a process based on individual will. So you can turn yourself in for a bit, but that's almost part of the black hole of mental health. If the government takes a thing, good luck getting it back. It will be sold off ASAP. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you want to get rid of your guns, that's on like whatever. Get rid of your guns.
Yeah.
But you can't force other people.
Yeah, seriously, you can turn yourself in for a bit, but it's almost part of the black hole of mental health. I don't really know what that means, but again, the idea that you may not know that you are in such a position, and there's definitely people who will go to the ER and say, "Oh, I'm gonna self-delete this, whatever. I need help." Sure, that's great that those people can do that, but that's not something that we can count on.
Well, and then also, like, I want to see Zippy. I want to see you right now go to the police station and go, "Oh, I'm thinking about shooting my neighbor. Here are my guns," and see if you ever get them back. see if you
ever leave that building.
Yeah. See what happens. You're not going to leave the building. This is a premeditated murder. This was attempted murder. Like, you'll be instantly locked up.
Absolutely. So this is why, like, these are people who own guns. They understand guns. These are not the liberals who are like, "Oh my God, they're so bad, ban them all." But still.
Right. I think there should be a process for that as well.
I think those protections and checks and balances are just critical because right now America criminalizes black men. There's no doubt about it. I've been through it. I've never been caught for some type of violence offense, but I've had guns drawn on me by law enforcement 5 times, right?
So have I. I'm not black.
You're brown.
What were you doing? Just saying.
When I was shot, when I arrived at the hospital, I wasn't met with a nurse or a doctor or a surgeon. I was met with 3 investigators.
Okay. How did you get shot? No, I'm not trying to victim blame here, but you're leaving out a lot of details here.
And they asked me, "Where's my gun?" And in my situation, they were more focused on solving the crime than saving my life. And I think that's...
Bro, that's their job. Their job is not to care about you. Their job is to solve crime and then see if there is a crime there. Like, don't turn me into a bootlicker just because you're too stupid. Zippy said, I missed a few words, as usual. The reason we are talking about red flag is because we've had a black hole in mental health for decades. Gotcha. So, I mean, and that certainly is true. That definitely is why this idea is on the table. I mean, without it, this black hole, as you call it, there would be no reason to even discuss this. But it's a half-baked idea. It's a half-baked idea that doesn't get us anywhere, because exactly like we're talking about, people are not going to turn in their own guns because they know that they're not going to get them back. And then the people who use these laws it's too easy for abuse. I say no. I say no.
So we have to really see that reality that's impacting our communities every day before we push forward laws and legislation that adds more authority and resources to a system that's biased against us already.
So there's a lot of times that there's a red flag law that's called, and there's uniformed police officers who go to remove a firearm from the situation, who might have biases, who might have racial ideologies in their head. And I think that's a lot of confrontation. I feel like there's a lack of training. The police officers that go to serve these red flag laws, there needs to be a lot of checks and balances, and there needs to be a lot of accountability in how these things are executed.
When we talk about
But the problem is, this is the same kind of thing that you hear from the people who don't know anything about guns. We need more of this and more of that and more of that and so on and so forth. What does that actually mean? They cry all night and day about why doesn't anything get done? Well, what is it that you would like done? More?
Yep.
I mean, maybe help us out. Give us some examples of what it is that you would like us to do, instead of just saying, fix it. Crazy. Guys, if you are enjoying the video, please do hit that like button. It helps so much.
Regulation and laws, people need to understand, like, especially on the left, this is going to take the firearms away from the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the 3%ers and the white militiamen. It really, they're not.
What about, Antifa?
Those people don't have any interactions with the police normally, right? You pass these laws, you're going after black men, you're going after brown men, you're going after poor people.
At the end of the day,
That's actually a decent point. That is a decent point, that it's, if you're rich and white, then you're less likely to, be caught up in some false red flag situation. I mean, I really don't like the whole race card thing and bring it up where it's not really relevant, but that is a decent point.
Well, the race card is like, I don't think that's a hard card to play because there's rich people of all races. But like when you say the poverty card, there's definitely more there's more security people in richer areas that are more well off. So you're less likely to have these problems of mass shootings and stuff like that and gang violence.
Absolutely. So Zippy says, I mean, let's not forget, via civil forfeiture laws, cops can steal your stuff and cash, and you have to sue to get it back. Payola fee fines regimes gotta go. I'm with that.
there's systemic racism, and then it leads to black and brown people being criminalized. And I'm curious, when it comes to passing more gun laws, how do you think we could avoid that in going forward?
I really think we have to think about what is the goal. Are we trying to save lives or solve crimes? And if we're trying to save...
Well, it depends on who you are. If you're a cop, then you're probably trying to solve crimes. If you're an activist, then you might be trying to save lives. Zippy says, red flag or gun control will not lower black crime. Thus, cops will always lean to annoying non-whites. Red flag, it will not lower black crime. I mean, it theoretically should have some effect, but just not nearly enough to stop all over the Constitution. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Save lives, then we can't just keep putting it on the backs of the criminal legal system. We can't incarcerate our way out of this situation. If that was the case, Louisiana would be the safest city in the country. But it's not. It's one of the most deadliest. So you have the highest level of incarceration and the highest level of gun violence in one state. This is something where we have to think about legislation and laws that provide more resources for the communities that are most vulnerable and at risk to violence.
So that's a great point. That if I didn't even know that about Louisiana being the having the most strict gun control laws, but also the worst gun crime. What do you think that says about the laws themselves?
That they don't work at all. Like the idea that you're going to say this is a gun-free zone. People that want to commit crime are going to there's no one there that's going to have a gun that is going to be a good person. So they're going to be able to go in there and rob whatever they want there. And then they're going to have to call the cops, wait for the cops to get there. So it's pretty much like a guaranteed zone of where no one's going to have a gun to defend themselves.
Yeah, I even when I didn't know anything about guns, and I still don't know a lot, but I very much have learned to understand the value of, the Second Amendment, all that kind of stuff. Even before that, I had no clue what the point of a gun-free zone was. It's like, bro, if I want to bring a gun, a sign ain't gonna stop me. Like, what are we talking about here? Zippy says no gun law means both cops and thugs have to think twice about hassling people. Yeah, I mean, when you know, or when you don't know, rather, who is armed and who's not, then you gotta dance around a little bit on eggshells. If you know you're in a gun-free zone and you have a gun, well, you're the boss. You're the boss. Daniel says, why don't we handle it like that last liberal city I heard about? We'll just go to the gang members and ask him not to shoot during, like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. They'll follow that. That's because of the kids. Good idea. Let's just ask the gang members. That's probably about as reasonable as any of these other laws, right? Shout out to Bill Bradley. Welcome to the party. Bill Bradley says the most common way guns reach the black market is straw purchasers, meaning people that can legally buy and own and follow all the rules to get the gun. Straw purchasing is already illegal. Interesting. I'm going to come back to this, but real quick, we got Land Jaeger Bastard in the building. Welcome to the party. Said, I'm confident that most 2A advocates in America will never truly challenge the anti-gun laws already on the books, like short barrel rifles and shotgun laws. Why do you say that?
They already are.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're trying. But is that about the government? Is that about the other side of activism? What's making you say that? But let's go back to what Bill Bradley here said. Can you talk to us a little bit about what a straw purchase actually is?
Mm-hmm.
He's talking a little bit here. People that can legally buy and own and follow all the rules to get the gun.
So let's say you are someone that goes to a gun store and you buy a gun for somebody that's a felon, and they give you the money for the gun, and you just give that gun to them, and then you just don't do the paperwork or anything. That gun's still in your name, and they may get rid of they might just scratch off the serial markings on it, and then now they've got a gun that they don't have any connection to at all.
So if I'm going to be selling that gun, what would be the benefit, or how is there not too much risk for me? Like, if I own a gun and I'm selling it to somebody who wants to buy it illegally, how does that, I'm only going to assume that they're going to use it in some illegal way. Why would I want to do that?
Well,
why would people
sell guns,
those sales?
So you can change your name. Like, you can go to a gun store and change the name of a gun over to someone else's name legally for super cheap. And then also there's some guns like that, if they're super old, and you can just sell them to somebody without there being an issue. There's legal ways to sell weapons to to other people. But the problem with a straw purchase is where you legally that they're a felon and you buy the gun for them intentionally to sell it to them.
And that's what I'm like. I mean, I guess the answer would just be that they're willing to pay a dick ton of money.
They might just be friends. You never know. Like, oh yeah, can you buy me this gun? I just can't get it. Oh yeah, sure.
I am just to all my friends out there. No, I don't care what situation you are ever in. I am never handing you a gun that is in my name.
No.
That's insane to me that people would even do that on either side of the law anywhere else. Land Jaeger said it's a slippery slope issue. I wouldn't support any gun control. I think a lot of people feel the same way. He goes on to say, I want machine guns, SBRs, silencers, no reg, no serials.
Yep.
That's the way. That's the way it should be. But again, we have to bring up the notion that there is a reason for people to not feel that way. There is a reason for people to be like, oh, okay, I don't like this. This is a dangerous thing. Bad things happen, and so that's not necessarily. Again, that's not a reason to stomp all over the Constitution. But we have to remember the people that we are talking to and talking about. Guys, can I just get 2 more likes, please? Just two. Thank you so much.
But
good.
The serial numbers are like that. that's something that is never going to be gone. It's not even for tracking. Like if a company wants to put serial, like they have to put serial numbers as like quality control. Like if there's a problem with a say like 4,000 guns that you made out of 10,000, you need to have serial numbers so you can go back and figure out which guns had the problems in between
Right.
serial numbers.
Yeah,
That's just something that you're never going to be able to get rid of unless you make your own weapons.
But we can dream, right? We can dream. Bill Bradley says most states do not require you to register your firearms. Private sales are legal. You can just say you didn't know they were not allowed to own a gun.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a little there's some wiggle room there.
Yeah, there's definitely, well, it just depends what state too, because like in California, like there's no way, like if you can sell your weapons, but I don't think, like I think you have to like change the name over.
Because again, that's just like it doesn't matter what stage of life or social class or whatever I'm in. There's only one reason why you would want to have a gun that you know it, and it's my name. Hell no, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Yeah, Zippy said the reason the government is helping people make things worse. That's the best thing that they do. Bill Bradley says California has gun registration, I think, but most states do not. All right, fair enough. I mean, that's not surprising for California, but I mean, what would you say is if you were to steel man the other side of why registration and stuff, why they want it? What do you think is their main reasoning behind that? Because obviously they want to know who has these guns, but specifically, having a register list like they do with cars. That's something you hear all the time. We should regulate it like we regulate cars.
Because if like it's, let's say like if a super rare caliber gets used in a crime, and let's say like, oh, let's just look up the people in this area that bought guns with this caliber, and then we can go find them. Like that's what I think. Like, like let's say, oh, he was killed by a 8mm like bolt, like sniper round. It's like, well, there's only a couple rifles in the world that have that brand new caliber, so let's see who bought the new one around the state, and that's probably the person that did it.
And so why then is there, when most gun owners are going to be responsible and law abiding, what is the huge reason, aside from just like, I don't want the government knowing my name, to be so hard up against the registration?
Because
federal registration.
Let's say like we get into a tyrannical situation, and they have a list of everyone who owns firearms in the U.S. who is a lawful citizen that loves the Constitution. So now they have a list with everyone's name on it.
Gotcha. All right. So Bill says in most states, your name is only attached to a gun via the serial number in the black book of the federal firearms license dealer that made the initial sale when new. Bound book, not black book. The bound book FFL dealers have to keep for 20 years. Wow, that's a long time. Zippy says, and then if you have the ATF, then you have the ATF that will go after you for trading too many guns without an NFA. What's an NFA?
It's like that. I think that's where you're part of the National Firearms Association.
Oh, okay.
Like your NFA card.
Gotcha. So without the NFA, even then you have to be a quote dealer to make a profit according to the ATF. Do we trust that from the ATF? Because it sounds like it's pretty easy. Firearms Act. Thank you, Bill. So without the National Firearms Act, even then you have to be a dealer to make profit according to the ATF. But that doesn't make sense just on without reading anything, knowing anything. It would make a lot of sense that it would be very easy to profit off a gun if you're just doing these strong purchases, because again, I'm putting up my name on the out there, so I'm going to charge you a premium.
But imagine also like if you have like a gun that was made, like a gun from World War II, and you want to sell it, like now it's going to be worth way more money than what it was like back in 1976 when you bought it. Like a Mosin Nagant was like $50. like in the early 2000s. Right now, they're like $400. So if you were to sell it, the ATF would say, no, we need to get that $350 you make as profit in taxes, and you just make the $50 back that you bought the gun for.
Okay, I guess yeah. With older and more like antique guns, that makes a little more sense. So I'm thinking like, yo, can you go down to the gun shop and buy me this right now? That's where my mind.
Most like I feel like most purchases of people like buying guns from other people, collectors, is like guns that they don't make anymore, or like collector pieces that like you'd buy for a lot more money. Like those are what you're buying from that, like non-gun stores or like from other collectors. Gotcha. Like there's a lot of places like they do, like I've seen videos of like garage sales where like they just got like grandpa's old shotgun sitting up on the table for sale for like $100.
Pretty cool. Lanyanger says, I guess at the end of the day, Americans and some others like Europeans make these dope ass firearms. Guess I'm gonna just have to oblige to their society's rules if I want to get my hands on them.
Unfortunately,
pretty much. Bill says the Firearms Owner Protection Act prohibits the feds from creating a registry. Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, what? So that immediately then my brain goes to, okay, well, what? Clearly, there's already somebody trying to overturn that. So what would be the process of a Democratic politician going in to try to overturn this? How likely or how practical is that? Or is that like, something that just can't be done? And I mean, when it comes to, we can amend the Constitution. We can amend anything.
Well, the Constitution is already broken. Like in states, like in California and stuff like that. Like it's already been, like all of this is like, so they can do whatever they want. Tomorrow they can be like, we're coming after everyone with guns. Like you're going to either have to defend yourself or you're going to have to just give your guns away. Facts. If they want to.
Facts. Bill says registry creates a list for confiscations. They know where the guns are. So like if they, today, gun A, B, C, and D are legal, but they randomly decide that this part is illegal, and now all of the or 60% of the guns that you have are illegal, and so they just come knocking on your door like, well, you got to give them to us.
Yeah, like, but if I lose them in a boating accident, good luck. I lost them in the lake in a boating accident.
Oops. Excuse me. Zippy says government is more apt to throw an innocent man in jail to close the case and move on. Yup. We know the government and the legal system is not set up to be in your favor. Dan says, "Oh, come on, Bill. There are certain legislations that means the government shouldn't be spying on us." But Edward Snowden pointed out very, very differently. Mm-hmm. That's a great point, Dan. A great point. So yeah, Bill is saying the NFA is the National Firearms Act. It legislates things like sawing off shotguns or explosive devices. Fair enough, thank you. Zippy says the ATF makes free money by jailing gun owners for reasons. I really don't. I mean, yeah, like abolish the ATF, right?
Yeah.
What do they? Is there anything they actually do that helps anybody?
Like no, like they think there's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So. Do you care if anyone's getting drunk clutch?
Nope.
Do you care if anyone's smoking tobacco?
Nope.
Do you care? Do you really care if anyone's shooting any guns around or anything like that have short barrels or too short of barrels or too big of rounds or too?
As long as you're not shooting me and my shit, then hell no.
Then and I know you don't like dogs dying, so I know that you're gonna hate the ATF. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's them, right? Where like a lot of situations where they'll barge into some where it's like it's not an active law enforcement situation, but people have dogs and they'll just shoot your dog. Yeah, that's what you're talking about, right?
Even Morty's a tiny little old dog, and if they came into your house, they would just.
Oh, that's a danger.
Yeah, it's a danger.
We gotta put our officers.
Yeah. It might bite my neck.
He might bite your neck. If you come in here, I'm letting you know. Morty's a little dude, but if you come in here, he might very well bite your little dick. He be gay like that. I don't know.
He be gay like that.
Bill said most things people think are illegal are actually just NFA regulations. There's more checks and fees, but you can own most things, like flamethrowers and RPGs. Yeah, I did. It's like Tim Pool will often talk about how you are technically allowed to own a cannon, and then the idea, people will bring up nukes, and like even with as little as I know, if you just think about it for 5 seconds, it's like, okay, does the government itself produce nukes? No. Does the government have nukes? Yes. Okay. So that means somebody made the nukes and owned them before the government. It's not complicated.
The problem is trying to keep up with them and like trying to keep them from, like either blowing themselves up or just going dormant.
And I mean, yeah, nobody's saying that they're not dangerous. That's certainly not at all the point here. The point is that this is life. Life is dangerous, and there's a lot of things in life that we that are just dangerous that we have to deal with because it's part of life. That and to steal a line from the dude in the video, you can't legislate danger out of your life. I don't think that's what he was saying. But
you know what's dangerous? Sugar Sean's right hand. Yet we still got to live in a world with that around. Okay. So I should be allowed to have guns if Sugar Sean's allowed to have his right hand, okay?
Fair enough. Nobody likes the NFA or the ATF. They're saying completely arbitrary. Totally arbitrary. It goes on to say the Firearm Owners Protection Act is basic legislation. It can be undone with basic legislation. Does not require a constitutional amendment. Yeah, so this idea that like, it protects us from a registry. For now, yeah, and then it changes.
Yep.
As we say, government invents so much crime from incompetence and expediency. Yeah, the government is not here for you. They do not care about you. They are there for themselves.
Yep.
They are there for themselves. Come on, guys. 2 more likes. Come on. I got a beg here. I got a friend. I got a co-host here. Come on.
I'm curious to talk to folks and see, do you support restrictions on specific types of guns like the AR-15, for example? If so, why or why not?
You know why the AR-15 is popular is because it's affordable. You can customize it to whatever you need to do, whether it's self-defense, hunting, target shooting.
I think what you just said, though, is part of the problem, too, because the AR-15 is really like it has a marketing appeal. And America does the marketing really well.
This is cool. Cool. Without even having to understand the ins and outs of the industry, the ins and outs of the gun, whatever. The idea that there's marketing. No, it's just called capitalism. It's just called the free market. When something is good, more people are going to want it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And then also like AR-15, like it's one of like I got mine for $400. Like that's cheaper than some pistols. A lot of pistols. So like if it's like it's such a cheap option, like that's going to be one of the guns that a lot of people get in their like line, and that's going to be what a lot of people use. AR-15, and then like what it uses 5.56 and 2.23. It uses, and then it can also shoot 22 because it's all the same barrel size, like it's all the same diameter for the round, so it all can go through the same barrel.
And so with stuff like that, that means that if you need different purposes, like if you need to use your gun for different purposes, then if you have an AR-15 over just a something else that's not as customizable, then you might need more. You might need to buy an entire other gun. Is that right?
Well, so like a 223 is like it has like a little bit less powder in it, so it's also cheaper. And then like 22 is like super tiny, but like you could use that for small game. Like let's say you wanted to go shoot some rabbits or some birds, like you could use a 22. Well, let's say you wanted to go shoot a deer, you could use some 223. And let's say,
I heard a liberal say that nobody uses an AR-15 for hunting. It's a military weapon.
You can use anything for hunting. You can use anything.
Facts. True. Right where we land, Jaeger says, I will say, a person better be effective if they need to use a concealed 38 revolver or something like that for a lethal defense situation. Only got 5 or 6 rounds, plus the stripper clip, maybe. Don't drop. What's a stripper clip?
So that's like when you open up the revolver and like all the, like you have like you might have like the fast like pull into the mat like to the put into the revolver. So like you can like put all 6 rounds in real quick and drop them all in and then just close the gun instead of like loading one at a time into each cylinder.
Shout out to RM and Make America Meme Again and Lil Mac Jr. Welcome to the party, and thank you so much for the likes. Bill Bradley said the irony is that when you go far enough left, they become gun lovers as well. Oh, absolutely, leftists love their guns.
Look at the commies.
What's their line? You know what I'm talking about? This comes from Tim all the time. Like how people on the right will say "shall not be infringed." There's like a Marxist line along the same.
With the fist. It's the fist in the. Is that what you're talking about? I think.
But it's just their idea of saying we're not. We deserve guns. We need guns. And we're not letting. I forget what exactly it is. But yeah, they absolutely. There it is. Thank you. Bill Bradley, shout out, said under no pretext should arms and ammunitions be surrendered. Any attempts to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force if necessary. Karl Marx. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't find that ironic at all. I on both fringes, the whole thing is that we don't trust the government. And so while we might think that, that Biden is trying to do this, that, and never and trans the kids and all that stuff, which he is, their concerns have to do with right-wing fascism, and we need to, protect the workers and all that stuff. By force if necessary. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Thank you so much.
The one thing that I agree with from Marx.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, I've meant to dig into Marx and read the Communist Manifesto just to be aware. Like it's something that you should know what these people are thinking. We should have. I have no idea what Marx says. Besides what we just pulled up, that I've heard this before and I couldn't even pull it out of my brain. I have no idea what is driving these people, and that's not a good thing.
Are we gonna have to do a capitalist exorcism on you to get the Marx out? Get the communists out.
I want the Marx right up in here so that I know exactly why it's bullshit. You can't knock something down if you don't know what it is. You just can't. Yeah, a quick draw like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. Love it. Bill said the AR being a military weapon is silly. No military in the world uses AR-15s. They just think it looks scary.
Yeah.
Well, it's that and the fact that because it is so easy to use, because it is so light, because it uses so many different types of rounds, because of all these things that makes it popular, it's popular with people who like guns and are law-abiding, and it's popular with people who like guns who are not law-abiding. And so when we hear on the news, it's always the AR-15, and that's all they know. That's all they know. So like, we got to get that one, as if there's not a billion other guns out there.
One time I held an AR-15 and it was about as heavy as about 10 boxes you'd be moving. Have you ever heard that? Have you heard that from the Chicago? What? She was talking about AR-15s and she was like, one time I held an AR-15 and oh my God, it was about as heavy, I would say, as about 10 boxes that you'd be moving, I'd say. It's like, what does that have to do with an AR? What does that have to do with an AR-15 at all? What like how heavy it is?
So if I had to assume, I would think that she's saying that it's not a lightweight, easy to use gun, but that it's like other guns are just heavier.
Yeah,
it's just that simple. Zippy said, when we have a tradition and history in the U.S. of safety in dealing with black powder barrels, which is an explosive, which is a fire kaboom hazard, not an arms issue. Arms are anything you can use for offense and defense. Okay, cool. Good to know. Zippy said the 90s assault weapons banned scary looking stocks, not the gun itself. Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's the level of understanding that you need in order to change the laws, in order to, like I've been saying, stomp all over the Constitution. You just have to make people agree that a thing is scary looking.
Well, then also it's just like the lack of information, like on the laws, like when they were talking about the like recent SBR ban, the short barrel rifle ban, people were thinking that they were just banning the pistol brace stocks. And like all my buddies were like, oh, they're just banning these stocks. I'm just going to get a different stock for it. I'm like, no, it's also if your barrel is under 16 inches, then it's counted as a short barrel rifle if it has a stock at all attached to it. And they were like, oh, I didn't know that. It's like, yeah, it's because they want you not to know the laws.
Right.
They want to arrest you. That's their goal.
Right, gotcha. Jeff Pearson says AR-15 is not expensive to maintain. Another reason why, if you are, not a huge collector, then maybe that's a good place to start. If you're, if you're a crazy person who's gonna go pew pew at school, same thing, because that's what the tool does. So whether you use it for good or you use it for bad, it's the same tool. It's not the tool, it's the person. All right, let's see, what is this guy saying about marketing?
Defense, hunting, target shooting.
I think what you just said, though, is part of the problem, too, because the AR-15 is really like it has a marketing appeal. And America does marketing really well. And people respond very well to marketing, especially if you're selling them something they already want. So it's a very...
Well, if they already want it, then the marketing is near irrelevant.
Very convenient. The pedestal kind of grew up under it, but now that it's...
And how did that happen? How did a pedestal grow under the AR-15? Was it people buying AR-15s, or was it people talking about it in the news, having no idea what the hell they were saying?
It was probably the best for the cheapest amount.
Bingo. Bingo.
There, it's very hard to take that back.
Who are you trying to defend yourself from with an AR-15?
I can
a
answer
zombie
that.
apocalypse?
Anyone.
Someone else with an AR-15.
The logic.
No, the
Anybody.
All right, but before they get into it, what again, I'm not knowledgeable enough. So what is that? What is the intonation of who are you trying to protect? Let's see it again. What exactly did you say?
Very convenient. The pedestal kind of grew up under it, but now that it's there, it's very hard to take that back.
Who are you trying to defend yourself from with an AR-15?
Like what? I don't get the joke.
That's what I don't understand either. It's like who you try you can defend yourself from anybody with an AR-15. That's like one of the best choices for trying to defend yourself with.
He's like, what? She's not paying attention. He's like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, but you're agreeing with me, so I'll laugh.
The black guy's happy with me. Yay.
That's a liberal's dream, right? And Film says this is a guy who thinks he's making an intelligent point, but is making no point at all, and his dress is hideous. Oh,
look at that hat. That hat is like something like a middle school girl would wear that was like punky.
It's cute. Like it's my personality. And yeah, I would call that I do see like, if we pull the banner down, you can see that he is in fact wearing pants. So excuse me, Indie Film, this is not a dress. It's a blouse. All right, it's a blouse.
Makes it way more manlier.
Bill Bradley says, I've never seen an advertisement for an AR-15. Where is it marketed outside of magazines and websites dedicated to firearms? Exactly. Great point. Great point. I didn't know anything about an AR-15 except for hearing it on the news. What exactly? Like, I'm pretty sure that's illegal to put like TV ads about guns, right?
No, I bet you they're probably only on like the hunting channel. Like, like buy Remington. Like it's definitely not illegal to advertise weapons because they do it for sponsorships on YouTube. Like people sponsor weapens.
Right. But that's different than like they don't that's not within like the FCC. I was thinking on like TV.
Let me look up.
Yeah, give that a little look. Zippy says to Jeff, or is it like the Scar LA1 or whatever the last few British rifles were and just inaccurate and sloppy? Zippy goes on to say, what are you trying to do with that book? Fast car or internet? No. We must regulate, censor, and control everything. It's everything. Everything.
So advertisers can't run ads to promote, say, the sales or use of weapons, weapon modification, accessories, ammunition, or explosives. However, they can run ads that promote products that aren't directly sold as part of the physical weapon, as long as they are targeted to people 18 years or older.
Okay, because I mean that's the fact that when I'm seeing this, I'm like, yeah, I've never seen an advertisement for any kind of gun ever. And I mean, obviously, I don't really go to gun magazines or websites. So, great point. Great point.
I can
A
answer
zombie
that.
apocalypse.
Anyone.
or-
Someone else with an AR-15.
The logic.
No, the thing is, as a responsible gun owner, a person who owns several rifles, our president is protected with rifles, AR-15 style rifles. Our law enforcement officers use, carry, and have AR-15 platform rifles. So if I'm defending myself against, a lot of the 2A people will say my government, I have to have equal or greater access to the tools that they have as well. Is the president's life more important than mine? If you don't like them, that's great. Don't buy them.
That's not how it works, though.
That's not how it works. Okay, sir, please tell us then, how does it work?
You only need to get hit with one bullet to die. Just because someone has an AR doesn't mean I got one. We're equal or on the same playing field.
People have taken bullets.
Yes,
to
it
the
does.
head.
What do you mean? It only takes one bullet from you for them to die, and it only takes one bullet from them for you to die. That is equality. But of course, nope, not going to say that. Not going to say that. I was going to say something that I am very glad that I did not say. Moving on, Bill Bradley. I saw a clip of a Raytheon commercial on CNN. Never seen an ad for an AR-15, though. If you sell big enough guns, apparently, it is okay. Yeah, if you sell something like that, no way. But if you sell something that can explode an entire city, you're all good. You're great. Jeff Pearson says, funny to think how the AR platform is 60 plus years old. However, it was far from the first civilian semi-auto. What was the first civilian semi-auto?
I don't know.
Whoever gets it first is the winner of something. Yeah, so he's like, comrade, calm down, comrade. All right, let's see. Yeah, he's like, it doesn't mean we're equal, except for the fact that it does mean you're equal. It might not mean that it might not be equity, which is maybe what you're used to, but it is equality. And equality doesn't mean that you win.
All right, I found it.
Okay, all right.
The Winchester Model 1903.
Say it a little more boring. You were so excited about it. I just want to tone it down a little bit. What was it?
The Winchester Model 1903.
All right. I thought you were going to come back and redeem yourself, but fair enough.
You asked for it.
So any film says no, not the Colt revolver. What was it called?
It was the Winchester Model 1903.
The Winchester Model 1903. That's
Colt action or Colt revolvers aren't semi-auto; they're single action. That's not semi-auto.
And so that's what Bill is just asking. Depends. Do you consider double action semi-auto or not? So this, okay, I need you for this one. What
do you call semi-auto? Like a single trigger pull, or do you call like it was like what the? Because like
that's always what I understood. So a revolver is it is not feeding another bullet. It's rotating.
Yeah, it's rotating the
thing. So why would you? And so what were you were saying something about
a single action, like when you pull the trigger that just shoots the pin forward. That was the Alec Baldwin. He had the single, so that like shoots the pin forward. But when you pull back on the fire or on the what's that called? The freaking hammer that rotates the cylinder. And then there's some like you actually have to manually rotate the cylinder. But like when you pull back on that rotates the cylinder. And then you pull the trigger again, and then that fires. But double action is where when you pulling the trigger sets the hammer back to and automatically rotates. So you just have to pull the trigger, and then it like will rotate the cylinder automatically.
So in a single action, you have to pull the hammer back every time.
Mm-hmm.
And so okay, let's make it a poll. Do you count double action? Right, that's it. As semi-auto.
Well, we said the first civilian offered semi-auto. Okay, I just want to let Zippy know that because he's talking about auto loaders that were made in the 1800s. We're going to look up what's the first
All right, let's not get ahead of me. It's on screen. So semi-auto is what they used to call an autoloader. Some autoloaders were made in the 1800s. What were you saying about that?
We're gonna see what the first auto-loaded. Because like if we want to talk about like guns that you could shoot more than once, like you could go back to the
Gatling gun, right?
Yeah, like you could go back before that. They had the punt gun, and it was literally like the same thing as a Gatling gun, except like here. It's like this is like what a lot of people use, like when they say.
I think you can share your screen too if you want to. So we got a new poll up, guys. Replay gang, let me know in the comments below. Do you count double action as semi-auto?
Oh wait, that's
yes or no? You find that. I'll read some more comments. Bill says double action acts like semi-auto, but functions a little different than a technical semi-auto. Right. So I mean, like, I would put double action in that category just because it's more about the function of one pull, one bullet, and that's it. That's how I would think of it. But again, I don't know shit about Jack. Jeff Pearson says 1903 Winchester was modeled after the lever action. Good shooters can shoot a lever action extremely fast. The early advantage of semi-auto was that it was easier to fire, maybe not faster. Is that where, like, I've seen in some I don't know, some things on TV where the guy will hold the trigger and he'll just go like bam 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 with the hammer. Is that what?
Yeah, where you fan the hammer?
Is that what Jeff is talking about here?
Wait, where you use them all left action, good shots can use the lever extra. Oh yeah, that's like so like there was there's like two ways like where you use your finger and it's like that's like with the Winchester, like where it's the cocking mechanism on the bottom of the gun. Mm-hmm. So like if you watch the show The Rifleman, like way back from the day, he put a screw in the trigger guard. So whenever he would bring it back, it would automatically fire the gun. The screw would hit the trigger, so he could just fan it like super fast. Yeah, and like that's what they did in the show, and that's like what they would do back in the day. But
Interesting.
We
are split 50-50 on do you count double action as semi-automatic. We got whoever is over on Twitch. Shout out to you. If you want to comment and break the tie, let us know. Any film says if you pull the trigger and it fires a shot, and you pull another time and it fires a second shot, I call that semi-auto. That's where I am. That's where I am. So lever action guns as well. Melty, what is a lever action gun?
It's like the where like on the bottom of it, it would have like the lever underneath it, and when you would pull that back,
that's the one you were just talking about.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff says 1903 was advertised as self-loading. Double action is definitely not semi-auto. Double action describes the relationship of the trigger and hammer, but absolutely not semi-auto. So you're talking about the actual mechanism of how the bullet is fed then, Jeff. Is that correct?
Yeah. But I found that gun that I was talking about.
All right, what do we got?
So this is the.
Just open that in a new tab. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Here's that.
This guy. Oh
my gosh, dude. There we go.
So this is what are we looking at?
This is the Plunkett gun, and this was one of the first weapons like after the Revolutionary War. This is something that they would put on like ships and stuff like that. And when the ships were asking if they could have cannons during like after the Revolutionary War, and like the government was like, yeah, we said it shall not be infringed. You can have any weapons. These were some of the weapons that people were buying during the time that like these shot round and square like projectiles. And the square ones were meant for non-Christian people because they would tear the flesh and hurt more going through the body. Yeah.
That's racist. Racist.
Yeah. Well, it was religionist. Like it was meant for like the Turks and for non-Christians.
First they were going for the Turks. Now they're going to the turfs.
Yeah.
We got that one. Jeff says double action has nothing to do with how the firearm is loaded. revolvers can be double action. And I think Daniel agrees here, saying, in my opinion, you need a magazine to have a semi-auto gun. Fair enough. Fair enough. So I'm going to leave that one up because we are stuck at 50-50. Our Twitch viewer is choosing not to participate, which is totally fine. We are also on Kick. If anybody is on Kick, I can't see if you are there, but definitely let us know in the chat. What is Morty doing? What are you doing here, bro? What are you doing? Okay. You comfortable? Just as semi-automatic describes how the firearm loads ammunition into the chamber. Interesting. Okay, so it's not so much about what Indie Film was saying. It's not about the poll and the outcome. It's about the mechanism. Interesting. There's a whole world here that this is exactly why I want to have this conversation at this level, is because there's so many people who don't know this stuff, and there's too many people who know it so well that they don't know how to talk to somebody like me who doesn't understand this stuff. It's it was the exact same thing when I was learning about cryptocurrency. It's just like everybody online is talking about like what they already know. Like there's no entry level information, and I find guns to be the same way. Bill Bradley says, colloquially, people often consider semi-auto one pull of the trigger, one bullet, but technically semi-auto is about how the bullet is fed, I believe. Zibby says, semi-auto or self-loading is faster than a revolver. Revolvers are a bit slower, though I suppose it's semantics. Semi-auto would cover revolvers, I guess. We are split.
So
right.
A double action, also known as a double action, so a double action, also known as a DAO, is a design which either has no internal mechanism capable of holding the hammer or striker in cocked position, semi-automatics, or has the entire. So it says it's full. So it says semi-automatics. So yeah, it says that it's semi-auto, but that's weird. So.
And I mean, so clearly it's not, there is definitely a debate about that. And so it's not just as simple as, no, this is right, this is wrong. And you can, even if what Jeff is saying about the mechanism is what's referred to when you're talking about semi-automatic or double action or whatever else, then effectively it does make sense to talk about something like if you're trying to explain a gun that does fire one bullet with one trigger pull, and then you can pull it again and fires another gun. It may not be relevant how the mechanism, how the chamber is filled in the context of what you're talking about. So fair either way.
Let's say they ban all semi-auto weapons. So would they count? So like, are revolvers banned now or not? Are revolvers not banned? Because in law it says all semi-auto weapons are banned. So shotguns aren't banned. Well, but there's semi-auto shotguns. So are we just going to ban? Like that's when you get down to the laws of what they're going to ban, like in the semantics of it. Like when they say, when they ban fully automatic weapons, but they leave bump stock. Like if you have bump stock still, it's not a fully auto weapon. It's still semi-auto because you're pressing the trigger one time. It's just making it to where the trigger can be pressed faster.
That's the thing. That's the shoulder thing where you kind of just pull and it bounces back and forth, right?
Yep.
See, I know some things, guys. I know some things. Zibby says, I'm trying to infer a modern context or definition to semi-auto. That's why I lean to revolvers, pump, and levers being their own thing. And that's, again, as we're we're getting a little more split as the conversation is going a little bit more and more and more towards no. Jeff says semi-auto prepare the firearm for double action trigger pull, but they are completely different terms referring to different tech. Any gun guy will understand. It's an absolute. All right, putting his foot in the sand as our poll went from 50-50 to 75-25. No, double action is not semi-automatic.
Double action has to do with the mechanism, and then the semi-auto, then that's what makes it. So that's the mechanism that makes the pistol semi-auto.
Right.
So
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. See, we're all learning here. We're all learning. All right. let's get back into this. Oh yeah, it's just like, oh, who you protected with
one bullet to die. Just because someone has an AR doesn't mean I got one. We're equal or on the same playing field.
I have to stop it again. Yes, bro, it does. It does mean that.
Shot them though?
I don't want to shoot AR-15. I'm not fighting them.
That was not the question. That was not the question.
You only need to get hit with one bullet to die. Just because someone has an AR doesn't mean I got one. We're equal or on the same playing field.
Have you shot them though?
I don't want to shoot AR-15. I'm not fighting them.
The reason why I asked is because when you actually shoot rifles, when you have experience handling rifles versus handguns, AR-15 platform rifles versus handguns, you understand that there is a disparity of force there. I'm not bringing a handgun to a rifle fight. I'm not.
I think if someone in the Tops grocery store in Buffalo had an AR-15, that would have not saved lives. If anything, it would have harmed more people.
I think it's...
Wait. Hold up. Real quick, I just gotta give a big shout out to Indyville. Thank you so much. Let's get Morty his treat. He's already looking up. Oh, let me pull this out of the way, boy. Oh, come on.
That's, oh my gosh.
There we go. Yummy. Thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. What does Indie Film say with a $6 super chat? Said if the feds try to ban semis, winky face, hopefully the states will push back. Federalism, baby. I mean, yeah, that's, you know, when you were saying this notion of trying to ban semi-automatics, I would imagine that because of the exact thing that we are talking about, like does double action count or not? Oh, there's a semi-auto shotguns. That there would be a decent amount of pushback. I don't see how likely that would be. But well said, sir. Well said. All right, I gotta back this up again because I mean, come on.
Well, look what Zippy just put. This dude said he got shot, so he's saying it takes one bullet to kill you. But this man has literally been shot before.
He did say that, right?
Was he lying about getting shot? And now he's like,
maybe. Let's see. All right.
AR-15. That would have not saved lives. If anything, it would have harmed more people.
I think it's...
I want to go back on that part. That's the part I missed.
Versus handguns, you understand that there is a disparity of force there. I'm not bringing a handgun to a rifle fight. I'm not.
I think if someone in the Tops grocery store in Buffalo had an AR-15,
Tom's grocery store in Buffalo. Well, can you pull that up real quick? See if what that is. Shout out to Indie Film for sponsoring the stream, because I think it's important that we have an understanding of what they're talking about. Because especially for somebody like me who doesn't necessarily have the opportunity to have these types of discussions, I really want to be able to understand what they're saying. So while you're looking that up, Daniel Cabrera says, like that kid in the mall who stopped a mass shooting because he was concealed carrying. Jeff says semi-automatic is synonymous with self-loading and requires single trigger pull for each shot. Yep. All right, so let's pull this up here. Is this better here? No, let's do that one. Zooming in a little bit for me.
How do I fucking zoom? What the
control and roll your thingy. Control up or control. There you go. All right. So the 19-year-old white man who killed 10 people in a racist mass shooting at a grocery store in a predominantly black area of Buffalo last May apologized to the victims' families and was sentenced to life in prison during an emotional court hearing on Wednesday. I'm very sorry. Blah 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 blah. So let's see if we can scroll down and see what actually happened during the thing that day. The statement. So, yikes. Okay, so let's see. Wait, so go right back before the picture. So the statement came during the state sentencing hearing for Gendron. What a loser name. Who pleaded guilty in November to 1 count of domestic act of terrorism motivated by hate, 10 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, and weapons possession charge for the mass shooting at the Tops Friendly Market in May of 2022. A number of victims' families spoke emotionally Wednesday about how the mass shooting had changed their lives. At one point, Gendron took off his glasses and began to cry during... Oh, that's what they're talking about. I thought they were... So let's see. Anything about
this is? I think this is about the case. Let's see if I can.
Daily Mail is usually pretty good with like getting all the stuff there.
So,
okay, right down the second thing. So zoom in on shooting there. So at around 2:30 p.m., Genjin arrived at the supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood in Buffalo. He was armed with a Bushmaster XM15 AR-15 style rifle, modified to accept high-capacity magazines. Does that mean 30, or is that supposed to be more?
So modified, but it says so, and multiple 30-round. It wasn't modified then to make to take a high capacity. If they say 30 rounds,
no, I think modified to accept high capacity and the 30-round magazines. That's
they all take the same magazines.
I don't know then. In his car, he had something else. He was wearing body armor. As he approached the scene, he was recorded live streaming, saying, "Just go for it." Buffalo police received a call reporting shots fired at the store. First responding officers and fire a minute later reported bodies lying outside the building. At 2:34, that's 3 minutes later, dispatcher started informing responding officers of an active shooter situation at the store. Genjin shot 4 people in the parking lot, killing 3. He then entered the store, shooting 8 more people and killing 6. According to the law enforcement source, he yelled racial slurs during the incident. Many employees and customers used the store's break room to hide from the shooter and barricaded the door with a heavy desk. That is horrifying. Other customers were hidden by employees in the milk cooler. That's smart. And said the shooter shot through the coolers, but the milk cartons stopped the bullets. That's crazy. I would never stop drinking milk if that's what happened to me.
Well, liquids, when high pressure like hits liquids, the rounds just break apart. Like if you shoot down, like if you shoot into water, it won't break like the first 2 inches of the surface of the water because like the water's just so hard. It's like concrete when you hit it at that speed.
Gotcha. Shout out to Doodad Attack. Welcome to the party. Said hopefully Brandon Herrera will make things right. I'm not sure who that is.
That's the gun tuber I sent you that's running in Texas for Congress.
Shout out.
He has a huge chance of winning because the guy he's running against is also a Republican, and they actually voted to get his powers withheld from him. So he has a really good chance of winning.
Interesting. Very cool. Yeah, that would be good. So let's see. Anything else here? At some point, armed security, Buffalo police, due to the shooter's body armor, the bullet. This is probably what he's talking about. Due to the shooter's body armor, Salter's bullet did not stop him. Genjin returned fire at Salter, who died at the scene. At another point, he aimed his gun at a white person behind a checkout counter, but apologized and did not shoot. By 2:36, this is all in 5 minutes. This is all happening in 5 minutes. Genjin had gone to the front of the building where patrol officers were able to talk him into dropping his gun after he reportedly aimed it at his neck. A total of 60 shots were fired during the shooting. After his arrest, he made disturbing statements regarding his motive and state of mind. So that's what our boy here is talking about. So let's get this in full context. Actually, real quick, let's get some of these comments and then I missed. Did we get that one going? He says blue states would be happy to throw all their citizens in jail, though. Facts. Jeff said an AR is not necessarily the best firearm in all situations.
Definitely not. But but still, if I could pick any weapon to defend myself, like any situation, it's probably going to be an AR with like at least a 12-inch barrel and that has 5.56 in it or 300 blackout. That's going to be the best gun for almost any situation.
Right. So it may not be the best for every single situation, but giving the range of situations, an AR is going to be appropriate and more than other ones. Zippy said a rifle is not a good all-around gun, but no reason to restrict them. Fair. Just as I believe the stats still show that a 22 long rifle cartridge is the most common and most deadly round. Stats might have changed. I hear Chicago favors 9mm. Well, that probably has a lot to do with concealing, right?
Well,
Indie film.
22s are just as easy to conceal. Like the 22 pistols, like they have 22 pistols that are super
What is
tiny.
that long rifle?
Well, yeah, it's 22 long rifle is the cartridge. That's the name of it.
Okay.
It goes into pistols.
Gotcha.
Like you can have AR pistols that take 5.56 that are just like pistols. They're crazy.
Jeff goes on to say, you don't modify a firearm to take 30 plus rounds, 30 plus round magazines. 30 round is standard. All AR 5.56 magazines are the same. It's the calcium and vitamin D. What? I don't get that one. Zippy says magazines come in many different sizes now. In some cases, you can modify a rifle to take magazines from a different rifle. Some mags are just low quality, and it's cheaper to mod the rifle. Yeah, bro, you got to stop posting links. Bill says mass shootings don't end even if the AR-15 ceases to exist. The Virginia Tech shooter used 2 handguns, for example. Yeah, absolutely. But this guy here is saying, "Oh, that wouldn't have helped."
Yeah.
You sure?
Well, actually,
you're sure?
Someone said, "Didn't he say?"
You're sure? Sorry.
Didn't he in that Wikipedia? We gotta go back to that Wikipedia article because he said that he got that they shot at him, but since he had a bulletproof vest on, so if someone was using an AR with some 5.56,
should have gone for the head.
Well, even if you have 5.56, well, you mostly want to go for body. Like you don't ever want to. You want to aim for center body mass, but
right. But once you see that, like he's got the armor, then what are you gonna try to shoot through the vest?
With my AR, yeah, I'm gonna shoot right through that vest. I got green tips. This shit's gonna go right through. I hope he's got level 5 plate.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, we got that one. Daniel says, I don't know. I'm with Brandon Herrera. I don't wait. What?
I don't know.
Come on, guys. Spell check. There's only 9 of us here. There's only 9 of us here. Take 3 seconds to just read before you hit enter. Please. I'm begging you. Just said, aren't more people killed by knives than guns? Yep. Certainly in other places around the world.
Daniel spelled that. That's Makarov. That's a type of pistol. I don't know. I'm with Brandon Herrera. Not many things a Makarov can't get you out of. You shouldn't have put that period there.
Okay, so then that's still not my fault. All right. Well, I apologize for not knowing, but still. Maybe it was a little better. I would have gotten the context clues. All right. Yeah, damn. Yeah, damn. All right. So let's see what this guy's saying. Why an AR-15 would not have helped.
Fight. I'm not.
I think if someone in the Tops grocery store in Buffalo had an AR-15, that would have not saved lives. If anything, it would have harmed more people.
I think.
How would it have harmed more people?
As a security guard who defended himself using a handgun against the person who had an AR-15, he had a rifle.
No, they asked the police chief of Buffalo after the shooting, if you were armed with those types of weapons, would you have been a better responder? He said no. He said,
oh, well, that settles it. If a guy said a thing on the news when, like we just read, that clearly this is not a good situation. So if you're asked, well, if this had happened, could you have saved all those people that are lying dead on the floor in your town? No. Then it makes a lot of sense. Well, I'd be like, no, unfortunately, this was, a horrific incident. Blah, 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 blah. If is what is wrong with the people who just eat narratives whole. It's, well, the police chief said it, so.
If you would have done better, do you think you could have saved those lives? Oh no, I think if I did better, no, it wouldn't have helped at all. I think me doing as little as possible is probably the best situation, actually. So it's like, what you're gonna ask the guy?
Move him to Uvalde.
So it makes no sense.
What a ridiculous notion.
Shooting. If you were armed with those types of weapons, would you have been a better responder? He said no. He said
he was wrong.
The reason that slaughter stopped is because the shooter stopped. Not because they had the right tools.
By security who had a handgun, who took a shot at the chest, and there are armor-piercing rounds. There are types of ammunition for AR-15s that would have ended that threat that moment.
And that's what you were just talking about, right?
Well, a 5.56 dude is going so fast. Like you need above a certain amount of plating before, and it's gonna you need at least level 4 plate. And then even if you have green tips, it's going to go straight through it. It's going to go straight through level 4
what exactly? What's a green tip?
So a green tip is that's how much. That's like AR-15s have green tip 5.56s, and that tells you what grainage of black powder is in the bullet. So you don't.
What is the like? Why do I want it? What do I?
Because
like,
it goes faster, and it goes through armor. It goes through steel plate.
By being bigger, by being stronger, by
Oh,
being faster.
By being faster. More black powder, it goes faster.
So we got the oh, that doesn't work for that. Oh, that doesn't work for that.
Yep, and then and then it has a copper jacket also.
As opposed to
like it would just have the it would just be a like lead, or like also like it has lead like in normal ones, or has brass like if it's just a normal like 5.56, it'd just be a brass one.
brass. Okay.
But the copper, when the copper gets super hot, it will actually it goes through the metal, and then the penetrator behind it goes after the copper jacket.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. So Bill Bradley says, indeed, Zippy. Most mass shootings, what Zippy is saying, FYI, mass shootings are shootings with more than 2 victims. So that's it. If 3 people are hurt in a situation, that is a mass shooting. It's not only, going to a mall and mowing people down, or going to a school. It's not that. And Bill piggybacks on that, saying most mass shootings are not even reported. 3 people get shot on a street corner is a mass shooting, but it won't make it to the national news. And for good reason, because that's a pretty normal thing to happen, unfortunately, but it is a pretty normal thing to happen. So it makes sense that it wouldn't be on the news. But because it's not on the news, a lot of people don't know about them. So that they think that a mass shooting has to be. And again, I was one of these people. I when I learned this, I was like, wait, 3? Like, I'm not saying that 3 people is not a big deal, but they don't even have to die. They don't even have to die. They just got to get hit. Yeah, more powder equals more force. Thank you, Bill. Zippy said smokeless powder.
Yeah, not black. It's not black powder anymore. We use smokeless powder now. I'm sorry. It's different.
Talk to me.
So like black powder, like that's where you'd have like a lot more smoke. Like that's why like when you would use it, like a bunch of smoke would come out of the end of the barrel. Now we use like smokeless powder, which gives more pressure. And that's why rounds can go faster now. And it causes way less smoke. So it's easier to see when you shoot. It still causes a little bit of smoke, but it's definitely less smoke.
So the pressure given by the black powder here, this is pressure and time. So with the smokeless powder, you get a much bigger pop.
Yep.
And so, I mean, obviously on a far enough timeline, it's going to stop moving, but wow. So I'm very curious what this little, what would this,
so like,
why would that be?
I think if it's like if it's going off like the black, like the big flash from like, if it's like a black powder rifle, like it's the big flash, and like it's like the bam, like, you feel me? Like when you watch a black powder rifle go off, like you get the spark and then you get the pressure.
Right. This is why we got Melty, guys. This is why we got Melty. Doodad Attack says, I wonder if they will ban shotguns next. Let me go first because I don't know jack shit. So I think that because you don't see these being used in the mass shootings that do make it to the news, there's not going to be the push from people to get them banned. And when you get to at the end of the day, all guns are they're all pew pews. They all take a thing and make it go fast and into something else. Mm-hmm. And so the fact is, the reason that people focus on a particular type of gun is because they don't understand that. And I can tell you, because I was one of those people, and still to a great degree, very much am. But, at least I'm here trying to learn, right? I'm doing my best, guys. I'm doing my best. All right. So yeah, that she was just saying exactly that with the green tips, using the smokeless powder and more of it. Why wouldn't that have stopped him?
Rounds, there are types of ammunition for AR-15s that would have ended that threat that moment. But unfortunately, because he had just a handgun, the shooter was forced to slow down, stop, gather himself, but then he continued to take other people's lives.
What you're describing in a way sounds like an arms race, where if someone else has an AR-15, therefore I need an AR-15. And that the end game is that everyone has an AR-15, right?
Life's been an arm race from the beginning, from sticks to hammers to swords. To bows, it's always been an arms race. Life has been an arms race. It doesn't. just because you want to change nature does not mean nature is going to change. This is how survival is going to be. You may change your nature, but you're not going to change other things' nature and what their will is.
Well said. Yeah, and this, you can only have this mentality when you live in a wealthy society that removes you from the notion of having to deal with survival, and like that's the only way that you could think that. It's like it's almost like the strongest people survive.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard about this concept before. Zibby says smoke. Pressure curve and burn time and fouling are the hallmarks of black powder. The main reason why auto-loading systems were slow to develop was due to fouling. You need to clean the barrel every few shots.
Black powder gets really, really dirty. Makes it super dirty.
Interesting. You guys are teaching me a lot. Bill Bradley says 2 handguns are more easily concealed and can wind up right around the same 30 rounds, generally speaking. It really is just about what guns look scary to
you can get if you have 2 pistols, you can do 100 rounds. They make 50 round Glock mags.
Damn.
50 round drums.
All right. I forget what they were saying.
I need an AR-15.
Oh yeah, the arms race.
The end game is that everyone has an AR-15, right?
The AR-15's been around for what, 40, 50? I think it's almost 60 years old now to civilians. Like Greg has shot hunting rifles. Pretty much every hunting rifle is more powerful than AR-15.
Who the fuck is Greg?
The AR-15
I think that's the black dude
minimum
next to him.
The U.S. government found out to be lethal.
That
Just because it has 30 rounds doesn't mean you need to shoot 30 rounds at a person.
And so why the specific feeling towards the AR-15 and not a handgun with a 30-round magazine? Which
obviously, as we just went over, it's because that's the scary-looking one that's all over the news.
But watch that Greg dude is going to say, well, the pistol's not as powerful, but I thought you said it doesn't matter. It takes 1 bullet, dude. It doesn't matter what type of bullet. It takes 1. It can be thrown at you.
Exactly,
by your hand.
It can be thrown at you, he said. Oh, my God.
I have the same sentiments for that.
So you feel equally about both?
Yeah, I think we are in a world where we're creating these weapons that are literally built for mass fatalities, and we're encouraging that.
No, we're not encouraging that, but that is a part of life. There are people, and there always will be people, and there always have been people who want to cause mass fatalities. That is life. Your idea that we can get away from that is silly and naive and childish. You cannot get away from that. This is life, bro. And to take a page out of the lefty's book, like, if you grow up in some shitty neighborhood where everybody else has something and there's no jobs and what, it is what it is. I'm not making an excuse for those people, but that is life. So to think that we just need to not support the AR-15 and then Chicago's going to be a utopia. That's not how it works.
There's so many other guns other than the AR-15. Also, there's the AKs. There's honey badgers. There's so many other weapons that take the same exact amount of rounds, and like they want to say AR style. Okay, take away the style, then there's other styles of weapons that people could use. There's been guns forever before they are, and it's not going to change.
Yeah, and there you go, another use, hunting wild boar. That sounds tasty. I was in Hawaii, and we had, oh man, one of those pig roast. Ooh. I can only imagine the only way that it would have been better is if I killed that damn thing myself. Shout out to Bailey. Welcome to the party. How you doing, girl? Good to see ya. Any Film says, correct me if I'm wrong, but most pistol rounds are larger than rifle rounds. Deaths in Chicago are mostly from handguns. Toss that over to you. I have no.
Okay, so there's pistol, the size of the round does not matter. Okay, it does, like an AR. So a 22, a little tiny 22 rifle, like a long rifle round, is the same diameter as a 5.56. It's all about the speed behind it. It's all about the size can definitely matter, and it can definitely hurt more, like a 9mm. But if you get shot by a Desert Eagle, which is 50 AE, that's 50 caliber. That's much bigger than
sniper shit.
No, that's the same. It's the same diameter. It's not the same size. It's not the same size. It's the same
So
width.
like I've played enough games to know that
Yeah.
the 50 cal is the sniper.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
that's why 50 AE is different. That's for the pistols, and that's the same caliber. It's the same diameter, but like that's gonna kill you. But it's gonna be like getting shot by a 5.56. Is the smaller and faster it moves, the more penetration it has. The bigger and slower it moves, the more the more stopping power it's gonna have,
Right.
like more
Yeah, so if
damage
it's-
on target.
Yeah, so if it's and that goes with anything. If there's more force, like if I am just if I'm just pushing down on something and I push down with one finger, you're going to get a different effect than if I try to use my fist and push down. It's the same amount of pressure, but I'm going to be able to push like let's just say it's a sheet that's spread across for whatever reason. I don't know where this came from, but if I push down on, let's say we have a sheet just being held, and I push down with a finger, it's going to go down a lot further than if I use a fist. But when I use the fist, you're going to get a much larger affected area. That's just physics, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, Bailey agrees. It goes on to say, bro, I shot a DE one time and it flew out of my Desert Eagle one time and it flew out of my hands and I hit myself in the head. Women, right?
No,
Just
that happened to my cousin when he was a kid.
Women and children. Women and children.
Women and children,
I'm
bro.
just kidding. I'm
just
kidding.
Get rid of them.
Just kidding. What? Bill Bradley's got to run. Thank you for hanging out, brother. Until next time. Peace. All right. Yeah, mass fatalities, and we're encouraging
that are literally built for mass fatalities, and we're encouraging that.
We're encouraging responsible gun owners to use the firearm to defend themselves.
For mass
absolutely.
fatality purpose.
To defend myself, yes. If a single woman who lives at home and 30 intruders come in, God forbid. Okay, say two. Right, intruders come in with my handgun, my semi-automatic handgun, using my firearm to defend myself. A rifle would be better. It would have a better advantage. I have a longer maximum effective range as far as defending my life. I don't.
That I mean, we got to run that back. But go ahead.
So now during this video, like maybe 30 intruders wasn't like, 30 intruders. What are the odds? Now we're seeing these malls where there are massive teen takeovers with more than 30 people.
Yep.
Like people said it's not possible. This shit is happening right now. It's happening in our
great point.
It's happening in our cities, bro. And people they want to close their eyes.
Yep. I just did a video on that. The whole Nordstrom thing that was in I think it was San Francisco. Surprise. But 50 people just go in and just a mob, just tear down the whole thing. No guns needed. But I'm sure if you had a gun and you were standing there, then you could stop all 50 of them just by brandishing. Doodad says these guns are not built for mass fatalities. These people really don't know what they're talking about. And that is a huge point, that these are people who are gun owners. These are people who are gun users. These are people who have a better understanding than your average person. So if they don't even understand it, how can we expect the average white liberal wine mom who lives in a gated community? How are we supposed to get her to understand?
Well, that's the sad thing about being as gun ownership, is that it's beautiful that you can own one, but it sucks that a lot of dumb people can just go into a gun store and buy a gun. And then they're like, I own a gun and now I'm gun expert supreme. And I know everything. Like this dude that's been shot thinks that one bullet can kill you. Like it's guaranteed if you get shot at all, one bullet's going to kill you, even though he's already been shot once. And then he's going to say, how's an AR-15 better than a pistol in any situation? Like this dude's ridiculous. The dude's dumb, and he's a gun owner. Like,
yep, they can vote and they can own guns. So maybe those red flag laws. Just kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Anyphone says, how many people were killed at the Christmas parade by the black supremacist with his car? Yeah, I mean, people who want to cause mass fatalities, to use his words, will cause them.
They don't start indie film. They're already trying to ban cars with 15-minute cities in Hawaii. They're going to start banning them everywhere.
Yup. Bailey said it doesn't matter if it's feasible or not. It matters that she has the right to defend herself in those circumstances. Exactly. And the right to buy whatever she needs in order to make that happen. Well said, Bailey.
See, and I 100% agree with you, Bailey. But the thing is, he wants to limit what she can use to defend herself. And the criminal will not be limited on what he can use. He will use all out anything he can use, any criminal act he can use to get involved. When she wants to be an upstanding citizen and defend herself, she's given less to defend herself.
And that's just fundamentally the wrong way to be looking at this. And again, I'm telling you, as somebody who was looking at this issue from that perspective of like, well, why do you need that? Like, don't fucking worry about it. How about that? How about that? Doodad Attack says they're built for protection or fun. Some people abuse this and use it on other people.
Well, they're tools.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. You know, like an area that I know all too well is drugs. Drugs are not meant to get you. The drugs that I was taking, the painkillers that I was taking, were not meant to get you high. They were meant to relieve your pain. But I chose to abuse them. That doesn't make the pills bad. That makes my decision making bad. And
that's the word that is perfect, is abuse. Of like, you abuse the tools that you're given. So like these people that they're given these tools to defend themselves, but you can also use a hammer to attack somebody. But should we ban all hammers and make that? No, like it's abuse of the tools that you're given, and that's the problem.
And I think it was, who was it? Jeff was just asking about knife attacks. Yeah, and every country that doesn't have guns, you have a crazy knife violence, and people are, not great marksmen all the time. So, like the great Bill Bourbon, you miss all the time. You get a knife, it's a lot easier to stab somebody than it is to shoot somebody. I mean, you got to be a lot closer, but once you're there, boom. And you can do a lot more damage because while you can dump an entire magazine into somebody, you stab somebody 3 times in slightly different areas in their stomach, they're going to bleed out. There's stuff in there that you can't put back together. So this idea that guns are so bad because they are guns. No. Bailey says, if everyone owns a gun and if we had a culture surrounding guns, people would be more educated and it wouldn't be as scary as scary that most people can own guns. Absolutely. This is a simple fact of the matter, that if people are willing to understand the reality and not think that 30 people intruding on your private property is that never happens. Oops. 2 months later, and because remember this is from 6 months ago, 2 months later, and it's all over the news, happening over and over and over and over again. So I mean, it's just what this is life. This is life, and you can pretend that it isn't what it is, but it is. Daniel says, I think the only thing they understand more is respect of a weapon, or at least the power therein. They don't understand. They don't understand much else more than the average person. True, but I think that's a significant. I don't know. Because I'm trying to think. What is the difference between knowing 0% and knowing 5% in terms of practical reality? Like obviously it's 5%, but I mean, obviously knowing 50% of everything that you can know about guns is great, and that's way better than 5. But I think there is a bigger advantage from knowing absolutely nothing to at least learning the basics. Because I would say I probably know, if that, 5% about of what there is to know about guns, and I that is such a huge difference. That I mean, the fact that these are people who know more about the physical gun than I do, and they still don't have the understanding. I don't get it. I don't get it. Any films is just it's just common sense to ban attack hammers. Who needs an AH-15 to build a house? Yeah, exactly. Zippy says, don't forget, government abusing the people, following bad rules. So you stack criminals and the government together in harming people. That's a good point. You know, when the government is doing, you know, what the government does, and then you make it harder for law-abiding citizens to live the way they should live, then not only do you have the criminals to worry about, but you have bad policy to worry about. Good point. Good point. I don't know about less sex ed. Sex ed is good. We want sex ed. We just want
Better
sex ed, not kink education.
Yeah.
But definitely more gun education. Dude Attack says schools should have firearm safety for kids and teens in middle school and high school. Agreed.
Elementary.
I would be in favor of it, but I could certainly see where middle school is probably there's a lot of parents who wouldn't, in the same way that, you know, they say that all this trans stuff is, you know, kids need to learn it at their age, and you're just bigoted if you don't want to. I could see that same argument coming from the other side, and I think it is reasonable that if I was a parent and I'm a liberal person, I don't want you talking to my 7-year-old about guns. I think that's a fair position. So I think middle school and high school works.
Well, why would you not want them talk? Why would
I'm
you
not saying that, but I'm saying I could
Okay.
see being that person that's saying, hey, I don't want this being taught in schools. It's not something that he needs to know to get a job. That's why he's going to school. And I respect that, in the same way that I don't think you should be forced to read the Bible or read genderqueer, which is, you know, kind of like their Bible. Then you know, we have to be consistent across the board. Some people are not going to be happy with that, and I understand it. I don't agree with it, but I understand with it. Understand with it? Understand it. You know it.
I don't understand you.
Close distance. There are so many longer maximum effective range as far as defending my life. I don't have to be at a close distance. There are so many other advantages to using a AR-15 platform rifle for self-defense than people realize.
But the culture that y'all are buying into or encouraging.
Excuse me? Who's buying into a culture? Which one of us here is talking about something that is not grounded in reality? I think it's you. What did you say his name was? Walter?
It was a Greg or something like that, or like in George.
Ricky?
The
Ricky
culture
Bobby.
that y'all are buying into or encouraging is the same culture that armed the shooter at Tops. It's the same sentiment that armed the shooter in Atlanta.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's the same sentiment that, we should have these guns. So what's between that shooter
One's a
and
criminal,
just someone
one's
else?
not. We're good people.
I feel like you're really putting words in our mouth, because
Yeah.
we haven't told anyone to go out and buy an AR-15.
I want to jump in because I don't think it's necessarily about telling someone to do it. It's about the availability and the access to that weapon.
Which we should all have.
Yep.
We should all have access and availability to protect ourselves. Again, it's vice, so you can't be too surprised. But the foundation is that guns are bad, and let's see if we can soften that up a little. Instead of, what do we think about guns?
Guns are illegal in Mexico. It's hard to get guns. There's one gun store in Mexico, and if you're there's one gun store in Mexico.
All of Mexico?
In all of Mexico, there's
Damn.
one gun store, and you as a citizen.
I was
going to
say, how do they get their guns? But obviously through us.
Yeah, you can't get guns. You, like, as a citizen of Mexico, you can't get guns, but cartel members can get guns. So like, but if you break the law in Mexico, you're not allowed to have a gun anymore, but yet the cartel members still have guns. Do you think it won't be in the same way in the US? Like we have the most, there are like, it's like 60% more guns than there are people in the US. Do you think they could find all these guns? Like, and if there are way more ghost guns, like they say there are, like Democrats say there are, do you think they're going to be able to find all those guns too? Like, how many are actually in the US? They don't know. So if criminals want them, they're going to get their hands on them.
Yeah. Crazy. What do we got here? Daniel says the same sentiment that armed Gavin Long. See, I can do it too with the lefty. Good one. There you go. That's it. You got to use their own logic against them. Zibby said, is that gun store on a military base as well?
It might be, I think. I'm pretty sure. It's
That
like
makes
it's like
sense.
literally there's one gun store.
Any Film says, the Obama administration was upset that there was only one gun store in Mexico, so they got plenty of guns to the cartels while they were down there. Good one. All right, let's see these liberal gun owners stand up for themselves a little bit.
Words in our mouth, because we haven't told anyone to go out and buy an AR-15.
I want to jump in because I don't think it's necessarily about telling someone to do it. It's about the availability and the access to that weapon,
which are part of the marketing.
I have a question.
Oh, and the marketing. Yeah, that's my addition to this whole thing. I'm just going to say marketing whenever something has to do about people knowing about a thing. Marketing.
Even though we've already stated that you can't market guns, our advertisers can't market guns.
Exactly. Doodad Attack says the shooter has the choice to shoot other people. The firearm culture is being ruined by these mass shooters. They make us look bad. Yep, exactly. It's the I mean, this is with anything that people are trying to ban. That it's the people who will be this is how society is organized, by the worst people. We have, the speed limit is not based on how well can you control your car on the highway. It's based on how well can the dumbest, worst driver control their car. At what speed do we want them to be driving at maximum? Like, I can handle my shit at 90 wherever. All right. But everybody ain't me. So we got to make the laws based on the dumbest and lowest bottom of the barrel people in our society, in whatever area we're talking about.
If we get rid of AR-15s for law-abiding citizens, how do we defend ourselves when those two guys, and don't say that's not probable, because 2 guys is more probable than 30 guys to kick in your door. How do I defend myself and my children against those 2 guys who have AR-15s?
You can't, bro. You can't.
Tell me how. And you said yourself that the police may not make it there in time. Tell me how I
the best chance you got in a situation like that is to get out the house. You're going to have a shootout with 2 people with AR-15s and your children at home?
She just stated this was
30 rounds a piece. That's 90 rounds of bullets firing through the home.
You think I can outrun that?
You need to get out of the house.
Oh, sir, I still like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. How do you think they got into the house? So you're just going to walk right on by. What are you even saying?
You you have to shoot all 30 rounds when you shoot your AR. Like, you press the trigger once and all 30 rounds have to come out. That's just,
Well, it's semi-automatic. That's what that means, bro.
Semi
right?
fully automatic.
We got to get these fully semi-automatic guns off the streets.
I'm down for that. Let's get rid of these fully semi-automatic weapons. I'm down for that.
Oh man. Daniel says you can't really advertise guns, alcohol, or tobacco, but cut off your tallywhacker and we'll advertise that. Well, I mean, you definitely can advertise alcohol, but tobacco is not allowed on TV, and as we just read,
neither are guns.
Very limited. But point taken. They, well, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen like a Lupron commercial anywhere. So
I've seen ads for freaking what is it called, Planned Parenthood. So
yeah, but I mean, come on, they do other stuff too. That's not advertising. Cutting off your tallywhacker. I mean, they might try to do that once you're in there, but let's be fair. Doodad says responsible gun owners know what they're doing. Kids do not know what they're doing. Most of these shooters are kids and teens. Good point. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not across the board, but it is usually a younger person. And I think, what you're saying about having education about this stuff when they are young, because you don't typically see a 12-year-old doing this stuff. And while I can understand if you, as a liberal parent, don't want your 7-year-old hearing about this stuff, but by 12, 13 years old, really, your kid can't even understand about guns? Like, that's a silly position.
I just thought about what that dude said when he said you have to get out of the house. Like, 2 guys with ARs. So like, let's say I live in the middle of the country, bro. I'm gonna run out into the cornfield, so they got even better pickings on me.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm just gonna go upstairs out the window and bam.
Yeah, it's like this guy's like, he's like, no, you just run around the H&R Block that's right behind your house, bro. You don't have one of those like I do. Like, there's a you
just go to the police station that's just a block down in my 15-minute city.
Yeah, it's like these people have no basis of what a reality is besides their own.
Nope. let's see. She's going off. She's going off. I mean, the tattoos are a little much, but she's going off.
And you think I can outrun that?
You need to get out of.
That's a great point, and I love how he just went
just
right
get
on
out.
by. You think I could get out of the way of that? Yeah, you just need to get out.
Just get out.
Oh, sir, I stand my ground. Sorry.
You got a better chance of jumping out that window
no one
than
have-
having a shootout
No
with two
way. I do
AR-15s.
not have a better chance.
Does no one have neighbors? Like, aren't we concerned about neighbors?
No, not when I'm getting robbed. Sorry, no. I'm worried about my own goddamn life. What are we talking about?
Like, do these people if you have like an apartment building and you're shooting through your apartment, like one wall, yeah, you might.
Don't care.
Well, yeah.
Not if there is somebody in my house with a gun at me. Sorry, neighbors.
Mhm.
What kind of question is that?
Yeah.
He definitely uses and it's my truth that you can just run away from bullets because mass fatalities. I'm flabbergasted. Daniel says, isn't that why the stat they use for children ages 1 to 19 for gun violence causing death to children? Yeah, to inflate the numbers. Because who doesn't consider a 19-year-old a child? Who does consider a newborn a child? That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's all about lying to you. It's all about perpetuating a narrative that this thing is bad. So we need to get the government involved. That's it. That's it.
Let's talk about real life, all right?
Yeah,
the
there you
average
go.
person is not walking around, and the arrest of firearms are not with AK-47s. Let's get that right. All right, so after this whole panel thing, that's almost like a make-believe world.
Did anybody say that? Or are you just trying to flex that you're a cop?
People do own them, but people aren't getting locked up with them. The average person getting locked up is with a disguised gun, a painted gun. You'll have a magazine clip that's extended, modifications. That's what's happening on a daily basis. People are getting their hands on illegal firearms that are disguised or defaced and using them against one another. That's what's happening in the real world. The average person isn't walking around out of their house with an AK-47.
Well said. Doodad says another problem, going to what we were just talking about, is police rifles. If the anti-gunners decide police can't have rifles, it will not be good. Police need these for protection against crazy people with, per se, a shotgun. It would be bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in favor of, militarizing the police any more than we need to, but we certainly need cops to be able to do their job. If they don't have the shit to do their job, if you can outgun the cops, why the fuck would you listen to them?
You ever seen Heat?
I haven't. That's one for movie night.
Yeah.
Join the I wasn't prepared for this, so it's gonna be a little sloppy. I'm gonna do it anyway. We do it all the time. Come to movie night in the Indian Jesus Discord server where the party never ends. That's right, 24/7. We're in there hanging out. And after every single live stream, we're in there for an after party where you're not stuck behind your keyboard, but you're actually on screen with me and Melty and everybody else. You can camel if you want to. You don't have to. Either way, it's a good time. Come and join us.
From what I've heard so far, the two main sort of points I'm hearing is that more guns can make you safer, from one mentality, and another is that mental health is really the solution to prevent shootings. Is there anything else, solutions-wise, that we haven't talked about could make a difference and reduce the amount of gun violence and the number of gun deaths?
Education.
I feel like actually the emphasis has not so much been put on mental health, is actually community. I feel like that's what I've really been hearing from, even with the recent disagreements, like I've heard everyone here talk about community. We've had so many different ideas in this panel on how we can fix these things, and so many of them involve contributing to community in different directions.
I want to say to the
Based. Community. You know what doesn't happen in small communities? At least not nearly at the same rates as these giant cities? Mass shootings. And it's not like there's less, or it's not like there's a lower occurrences of mental health just because you live in a different place. I mean, you might have different types of issues, but mental health is still an issue for all socioeconomic classes. But when you have a tight-knit community that is not based on violence and illegal activity, then you're less likely to find yourself in a situation where you are using deadly force for anything. Why would you?
to all of the people who have been here advocating for responsible gun use and offering your arguments and your life experience, like, I really just want to say it in case no one else does it to you, that I think that you have value in your community without your guns. Like, everything that you've talked about and everything that you've presented, and the skill and the intelligence and the desire to help people and to train people.
Except for Greg.
The value, people don't think the guns are what give me value to my society. The guns are what I use to defend my value to society.
Oh, tell that one more time. Say that one more time.
So I don't use the guns to get my value in society. I use the guns to defend my value to society.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. That is exactly the mentality that we need to have, is that, yes, you do have value. You are not the value that you have in your gun, but that is what you are using to protect that value. Beautifully said, sir. Beautifully said. Doodad says, another solution is locking your firearms up. People don't really lock up their weapon. If more parents do, if they have firearms, it will lessen gun deaths in ages 3 to 19. Yeah.
Or teaching your kid how to stay away from firearms, and how to, that this is not safe. You do not touch this. Keep it away from, locking it up is a good idea, but one day you're going to lock it up and someone's going to break into your house and you're not going to be able to get to it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I need to, I think that was Bill Burr as well. In that same bit, he's talking about you're locking it up. I want it right there. And it's like, you put it in, and then somebody breaks in, and it's dark, and you're stumbling around, and it's like, what's the damn combination? And my wife's like, he's in the living room. I'm in the living room. Yeah, that's not a situation that you want. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that you should have look at the thumb. Well, you can't really see it. But we have the whole armory back there. I'm not saying you necessarily need to have everything displayed just like that, but you certainly want to have something on hand ready to go. We got unwanted foe calling out how do you guys say that? M cubed or M3? Whatever.
M
dropping
squared.
bars. And of course, that comes with a treat for Morty. What, you want it or what? Yeah, of course you want it. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. And shout out to Melted Mind Media. In fact, I think I forgot to drop the link to his channel, guys. If you have not already checked it out, the link is in the description. Please go check him out. All right. Thank you, sir. Let's get back into this.
Out your guns. Like, everything that you've talked about and everything that you've presented, and the skill and the intelligence and the desire to help people and to train people and to educate people, I honestly think that has nothing to do with your guns.
My staunch view is more education and training. And then also, we know that we are, and thank you for saying that, valuable with or without our firearms. Whether I'm in New York, whether I'm in a country where I can't have a firearm, it's me. I am the tool. I'm the weapon. So it's me and everything I know. And the firearm's just an extension of who I am. So I appreciate you saying that. And I think no one on this panel has said more guns is the solution. I don't think anyone has ever said that this entire time we've been talking.
I want to bounce off of that.
I mean, I'm comfortable saying more guns is the solution. I mean, you're not going to get rid of them. What they always say, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
If you're not going to get rid of the guns, then why is it not a solution to get more guns in the hands of good people? Yeah. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know jack shit about this, but you have not made that argument. Nobody has.
Most criminals aren't trained with weapons. So if you get a population that is focused on weapon intelligence, and then you give them weapons that are equal to or better than what criminals are using.
Well-trained militia.
Oh, maybe is that something in the Constitution? I think
it's crazy. How did they know? It's like they foresaw.
Yeah,
the
like
future.
they thought about it or something for a long time before wwriting it down onto
They
paper.
just go to a Vice studio and just
yeah.
More guns are bad. Any film said, yeah, it's not the responsible people who you're saying have value that are the problem. It's the criminals and the mentally disturbed. Also, making sure your pool gate is locked will save lives. Yeah, that doesn't mean we need to get rid of pools. You just need to be responsible about it. Talk to your kids about, hey, water can kill you. Don't drink the water, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I feel like people are trying to make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. So he says, well, logically, more guns is the solution, and less guns means more crime and government abuse. Yup. Dad says the Zippy, most cops who do that are most likely corrupt. Or I missed one here. That's just.
I think they're talking
I
about
missed a whole.
locking.
Yeah, I missed a whole.
They're talking
conversation
about
here.
locking them in safes. I'm pretty sure that's what he's
Oh,
calling
okay.
stupid.
All right. All right. Dan says it's the founding. It's like the founding fathers knew people were going to jump off the short bus because they could.
Dude, well,
Crazy.
back then it was the short carriage.
The short. Good one.
And say, okay, if more guns, not the solution, is less guns a solution?
No, certainly not. And I think, a huge part of this that we have to, consider is, in fact, the economic considerations.
Do we though?
Well, she's gonna say something like, "It's this." She's right. She's gonna be right, but she's gonna talk about how if you make it to where it's harder to get guns for poor people, it's just gonna become where rich people have guns. And I would agree with her.
Yeah,
I
actually,
would
that's a
definitely
great
agree with
point.
her.
All right, let's see if you're right. Let's see if she's going there. Oh shit! I didn't. My bad. Unwanted foe. Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm stupid. Ignore
the solution
me.
is, in fact, to hold the gun industry accountable for their marketing of violence. And so we can't continue to point fingers at the individuals who wish to have such self-determination and self-defense.
You were close. You were close,
Unbased.
but not quite.
This chick is
Not
so
quite.
unbased. She's so soy. It's so sad. I've never seen a more soy gun owner in my life, bro.
Well, and that's a good point too. Is that we need to, you can't assume that just because somebody else owns a gun that they think exactly like you.
Nope.
That's a very dangerous thing to start.
Imagine if we had dogmatic thinking in the gun. Oh wait, we already do. I don't even.
I was gonna say, be careful, bro.
We already do.
Be careful, bro.
do.
And I mean, hey, not all dogmas are the same. The dogmatic belief that there is nothing that should get in the way of your right to own firearms is maybe not the worst dogma if you're going to be dogmatic. I still don't think you should be dogmatic and accept that maybe there is a possible scenario where I personally should not have a gun. Maybe.
But yeah, if we go back to caveman times and everyone's got sticks, maybe it's not fair for me to have a gun, but I'm still defending myself. So
well, that's not really what I meant. But the just being dogmatic. It doesn't matter how strongly you believe. You just have to leave the door open. You can still close it whenever some bullshit, or not close it, but you can still address it when some bullshit comes through the door, but just leave the door open.
There's a time and place for every belief, but the odds you're going to run into every circumstance where every bad belief is needed is very unlikely.
Mm-hmm. Alonzo Vo said, when someone grew up with only a 2-person carriage rather than a 6-person. Another carriage joke.
Yeah,
all right, we're going with the carriage jokes. Doodad says most of the anti-gunners think with enough stress on the government they will have all guns banned. But y'all know the Second Amendment can't ban weapons. I mean, I theoretically, you absolutely can amend the Constitution.
Yeah,
but that ain't gonna happen. They think it is, but that ain't gonna happen. Daniel says, unbased melting. Are you trying to say this woman is a dry turkey breast?
What? Yeah, she just, yeah, she's not, yeah, she didn't get basted.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. See, right over the head. All right. Zibby Strange says, blame the business for what the consumer does. I cannot imagine the hellscape. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
We can't continue to point fingers at the individuals who wish to have such self-determination and self-defense. We need to begin pointing fingers at systems and economic industries that have been so responsible for producing violence and producing massive amounts of weapons.
Have they, though?
Is she talking BlackRock, maybe? Or maybe like these other big war-mongering companies?
I think she's talking Winchester and Armalite.
Oh,
that's who I think she's talking. She's saying we need to producing violence, producing massive amounts of weapons. Yeah, that sounds like a gun manufacturer to me.
Yeah,
she was so close. She was so close because the point that you were saying is absolutely, and somebody did make that point earlier, in the conversation, and it is a good point that there is a socioeconomic aspect to this, and that there are more people lower on the socioeconomic scale who would need to have a higher need for legal guns because of the prevalence of illegal guns, or not even necessarily illegal, but guns that would be used against them.
Well, like let's say they don't ban guns, but they say like how they do with cigarettes, like we're just going to tax cigarettes heavily. So that makes it to where rich people, they can smoke cigarettes or have guns, but a poor person cannot. Yeah, but a poor person can't do the same. You're making it harder for the poorer people to get access to, and that's just class. That's just a problem with the class system, and it's classist.
Yeah, agreed. Doodad said that that lady does not know what she's talking about. It's not the producers that make the violence; it's the consumer.
Yep.
Exactly.
I don't think Winchester wants people. Like, I think they don't want people killing other people. Like, oh my God, no, that's another customer I could have. Stop killing my customers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if only at that level, or if only, oh man, that was our gun that was used. That makes us look bad. That's less customers. If only for that reason, they don't want that. Zubi said, sin taxes are insanity, just excuses for tyranny. Anything they can do, right? Anything.
I imagine if the gun industry that's making billions of dollars off of firearms was pouring billions of dollars into the communities that are suffering from gun violence. Like, how would that transform our entire culture? But
it wouldn't, because then all the money would be gone, because then you're not selling anything. You're just giving it away. And then it doesn't, you give each person $7. Great. Oh my God. You fix poverty. You fix poverty. If you give everybody $700.
A tank of gas. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Like, come on, bro.
But right now we are living in a world where this billion-dollar industry is selling that more guns equals more safety narrative. And we're buying into it.
Goddamn right we are.
Without pushing back and saying,
oh no, we're pushing back. Me and Melody are here right now listening to your bullshit. That's pushing back. Yep. And you failed. Zippy says, how has it transformed it so far? Look at what social aid has done to them.
And actually what we need is more resources for those that have been traumatized.
I wouldn't say that we're buying into it. I think we're simply recognizing the reality that there's a violent world out there, and that we need to, in fact, protect ourselves. And we can't simply skip over the fact that the world is violent, to live in a utopia.
But the best way to protect ourselves is to prevent violence.
Yeah. And that's true.
Yeah, let's just go and make sure all the people who want to illegally buy guns and illegally enter my home and do all that, let's just get them to stop. Don't you think that if we could do that, that we would do that? You fucking moron.
I bet you if you went up to this guy and was like, there's this piece of the brain we can cut off and it will get rid of anyone's violent tendencies. I bet you'd be like, yeah, let's do it to everybody. We don't need, well, who needs any violence at all? Like, let's just start cutting pieces of brain out. It's like, if we can just get rid of violent tendencies, who needs, who needs them?
It's such ignorant, like, I mean, this is what we're up against. This is why it is so important that we do this shit, because this is what we're up against. Daniel said they did do that. It's called a frontal lobotomy. Is that what you meant to say?
Yeah.
It's definitely not a frontal laboratory.
Laboratory.
It's a frontal labradoodle. Zippy Distrains said if we just follow the rules, things will work out. I did not see that coming. Hint Nazi. All right, let's get that in full context.
Yeah.
But the best way to protect ourselves is to prevent violence.
Yeah. And that's true. It is to prevent violence, but it's also about self-determination and self-defense as well. And we have to understand that there are, in fact, mechanisms to stop violence from occurring in the first place.
Yeah, like defensive uses of firearms, which are dwarf the numbers of people killed by firearms. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's somewhere, it's hard to calculate, but I believe it's somewhere between 1.5 and 3 million lives saved every year. Does that sound right? Do I need to Google that? I'm pretty sure that's right. All right.
Let's look it up.
We'll go here. How many lives are saved by defensive use of firearms every year in U.S. So we've got between 55,000 and 85,000 incidents on the low end, up to 4.7 million per year.
What is like that? What is that disparity? Like,
well, because it's hard to, because how do you tell that it was a gun that, like, when something didn't, how do you measure something that didn't happen? If somebody didn't die, how do you measure how that, like, what was the cause of that?
If someone gets shot, like if you kill an armed robber in a store, do you say the whole entire everyone in the store, you saved everyone's life in the store?
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Like if one person goes in to rob a store and there's 5 people in there, and you just do this, you just lift up your shirt and they see that you're armed and they're like, all right. You've just saved all those people's lives, theoretically, and yourself. And so that's why there's such a disparity, because we don't know if that guy was going to kill everybody or not. Yeah. But it didn't happen.
Well, imagine it's like a Walmart with like 10,000 people in it. It's like you just saved 10,000. It's like there's no way that dude's gonna kill 10,000 people. But
right, but you don't know which of those 10,000 people were going to be saved, and so it's very hard to measure. But even on the low end, I mean, it's a lot of people. How do you do it? By having more guns in the hands of people who are willing to do that.
Mechanisms to stop violence from occurring in the first place. But the only mechanism to end violence that has already occurred, that is already going to occur, is in fact largely the use of firearms for many of us.
I'm hearing a lot of consensus that it's not necessarily the guns, it's the reason that people are using guns. The nuance is like, how do you tackle that, right?
I was going to say, I think
more guns.
I think we glossed over the statement that you threw out there. You were like, so it's not necessarily the guns. I think it totally is the guns. There's a unique gun violence problem in America. We have...
Okay, is there a unique violence problem in America? No? Okay, then it's just the fact that the violence is being done with the guns. So getting rid of the guns doesn't stop the violence, it just stops the guns. Think about this for 1 second. 1 second. This is why syllogistic thinking, this is why epistemology, the type of thing that Peter Boghossian was doing. Again, if you have not checked out the discussion I had with him, please do. It was an awesome conversation, but he's a very smart guy, and he's great at getting people to think about why they think what they think. And this woman clearly has not thought about why she thinks that guns are the problem, or why we have a unique gun violence problem in America.
I think it totally is the guns. There's a unique gun violence problem in America. We have per capita way more guns than every other country. We have a unique problem.
How can you say it like that and not hear it? How can you not hear? We definitely have a gun violence problem here. We have way more guns. That kind of squares. That kind of makes sense.
And it's not just domestically. And the reason why everyone here who does own or regularly shoot guns, it's their weapon of choice, because it is the gun. It is the most powerful weapon. It is capable of the most destruction. And that's why people gravitate towards it.
No, that's why I would use a grenade launcher if I could.
I don't think she's saying what she thinks she's saying. Doodad Sack says, and almost the same with knives. Apparently, in the state I live in, you cannot use knives for self-defense. Even if you did, you'd be at fault for protecting yourself. Honestly, I think it's dumb. Bingo. I agree. Do you live in Jersey? Because that sounds like some Jersey type rules. I live in Jersey, and it'd be like that. I don't know exactly what the rules around the knives are, but I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Daniel said, doesn't it? If you remove guns, you end up with an issue with knives and beer bottles. Don't believe me? Ask the UK and Australia. Exactly. Jeff says, deter. How else can you deter? The threat of prison doesn't deter. There's only so much you can do. There will always be violent people. There will always be people who want to hurt you. There will always be people who want to take what you have. End of story. It's just that simple. So he says the problem is criminals have more guns than the people. and guns kill mostly criminals. Logic, people, the dumb, even come on, bro, please. Like, I get it, but like, work with me. Jeff wants to carry flashbang. That would be pretty dope. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want, like, if even if you were protecting me in a Walmart, because I don't go to Target anymore, I don't know that I necessarily want to get all that flashbang shit in there. Like, just
That's
work
like-
on your marksmanship.
That's like self-defense pepper spray. Like they run at the person with the pepper spray and they run into their own
they run into
stream.
it.
It's like,
Oh my god!
and then it's just both of them just standing next to each other, just like bawling their eyes out.
That's what happens when you don't have guns.
There's no changes to gun policy in this country that are not incredibly controversial and divisive. Like, how do we find that common ground and make changes that we can think, might make a difference without, triggering a second civil war in this country?
The United States.
We don't. You need to learn that what you are trying to do, in fact, definitely will cause a civil war. That's how. Jess said the problem with criminals is that they are willing to be violent. Again, it's just that simple. It's not complicated. People, bad. Bad people want to hurt.
And then
So we need a hurty thing for the bad people. That's it. Anyfilm said you can't completely get rid of guns because if you do, then criminals can just go buy some of those Fast and Furious Obama guns from the Obama guns from the Mexican cartels. Yeah. Daniel says Lutch in Jersey. I think you would want to. I think you would actually have to ask Morty for his paw print to make sure he was okay with you owning a gun because he lives with you. Again, I would not be surprised. Although I don't have a license for him, and I never have, so don't nobody know he exists but me and you.
Even if you own a gun, Lutch, if you were ever to someone break into your house, you couldn't use it.
Try to stop me, bitch.
You got
Try to stop me, bitch.
The cops will stop. You'll use it, and then you'll go to jail.
All right, but I'll be alive. I've been in jail before. It sucks, but it's better than being dead, I think.
You think?
I've never been dead. I don't know. I've never been dead. I mean, although my brother does say, he used to all the time when we would talk about things from his childhood, because he's 6 years older than me, and then my sister's 4 years younger than me. So whenever we would talk about something and be like, I don't remember that, and instead of saying before you were born, be like, oh, that was when you were dead. I don't know, just a little. So I've never actually been dead unless you count that. So I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty certain that I'd rather be in jail than be dead. Zippy says you can never protect everyone. However, you can teach most to protect themselves. Yes, exactly. Just like I want some Obama guns. I said, shit, me too. Zippy said the CIA maimed the cartels and gives them guns regularly. Yep. It is what it is. All right, let's see what these liberals are saying about their guns.
We can think, might make a difference without, triggering a second civil war in this country.
The United States Congress needs to remove all legislation it's introduced to absolve the gun industry of any accountability. And
there we go. All right. I'll take that. She said, Jeff says, I hear being dead sucks. I wouldn't know. But yeah, getting rid of all of these laws is exactly the right direction. And I'm not even saying that in the future there might be reasons to have certain types of regulation. I'm not saying there is. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying for right now, the best move is for sure to get rid of the regulations. Anyfilm said, set up one of those Home Alone torch flamethrowers for home defense. I got some security measures in order. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
That's illegal too. You're not allowed to booby trap your house.
Yep. Yeah.
Booby trapping law.
Definitely don't do that. Definitely don't booby trap your house. But I got some measures in place. Don't you worry. When you got St. Michael's out there and you got Opuses out there, you never know. You never know.
What do you think Morty's for? Morty's the attack dog.
Oh man, I mean, he does bark in a alarming way, but that'll buy me some time. He ain't gonna do shit. Doodad says, man, GTA 5 must be a gun enthusiast's dream. Life could be a dream. Oh, come on. Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream.
American public needs to begin realizing that our elected officials are, in fact, advocating for such absolve of responsibility. And so I think that's very much the first step. And then I think the second step to this is, in fact, to begin producing mechanisms that would stop the gun industry from marketing and profiting.
They're already
for so long.
I think if 100,000 people were getting sick from some cereal brand every single year.
You sure you want to make this argument, bro?
Yeah.
You sure you want to go down this road, bro? Raise your hand if you've been jelly.
And 40,000 of them were dying. The government would have stepped in immediately.
Oh, and that's such a great thing. Oh, the government stepping in. Oh, that means that a good thing happened.
Right. And held that brand accountable. And that's what we're dealing with guns and gun violence. We're losing historic numbers of lives.
That is not true at all. When you kill somebody, that is the gun working as intended. When you take medicine and it kills you, that is working as the opposite as intended. This is why you have to pay attention, guys. This is why you have to pay attention to the way people say things. You might have a general understanding of the point that he's trying to make, but if you don't listen closely, then you will miss the key words that show you, oh, this motherfucker's full of shit. You have to listen closely.
Yeah, I think Indie Film's right. I think we misheard her. I think she was saying that they should be a big gun industry should be charged for the crimes of people that use their weapons. I think that's what she was saying.
Oh no! No! She's saying more government. All right, let's run it back. Let's run it back.
Advocate for
controversial and divisive.
Right,
Like, how do we find that common ground and make changes that we can think might make a difference without triggering a second civil war in this country?
The United States Congress needs to remove all legislation that's introduced to absolve the gun industry.
Remove legislation that's introduced to absolve. So she's going in the absolutely wrong direction. She wants when you buy a product and that product works perfectly as advertised and intended, then the company should be sued for having a working product? What? I don't even know what question to ask about how you arrived at that line of thinking.
Well, if
I bought a thing and it did exactly what I thought it was going to do and what you told me it was going to do, and now you need to pay me. What?
If I buy a box of Rice Krispie treats and then I go beat someone with the Rice Krispie treats, should Rice Krispie get in trouble for giving me the Rice Krispie treats?
According to her,
yeah.
Yes. Zibby says something to think on. If the government hurts one person due to incompetence, labyrinth system, rules, courts, if it harms millions, which is worse, government harming people, bro. If government hurts one person due to incompetence, labyrinth system, rules, courts, what does that mean? It harms millions, which is worse, government harming people or criminals harming people. Which is worse, the government harming people or criminals harming people? Neither. It's harm coming to people. But if you're saying the degree with the government is higher, then obviously more people being harmed is worse.
Accountability. And the American public needs to begin realizing that our elected officials are, in fact, advocating for such absolve of responsibility. And so
okay, so now I'm aware. Now I'm aware that you're trying to push legislation to get rid of the protections from a company that is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Now that I know that, thank you. You have taught me another thing that I need to pay attention and fight for. You done played yourself. Dan says, let's worry about guns harming people when you know pills don't harm anyone. That's sarcasm, by the way. Yeah. Trust me. I know. I know.
Do some harm.
It can. Yeah, but only if you use them in a certain way.
If you abuse them.
I mean, obviously, side effects are a thing, but that's kind of outside of the analogy. Like if guns have side effects, then yes, I would say that. Like, okay, if you have but even still, if you have a gun and it just goes off, and because something's wrong with the gun, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to take that up with the manufacturer. No?
Yeah. Well,
so What are we talking about?
It depends. Like if it's like if you load your own ammo and then like you overload it like crazy on accident and then it blows up your gun. Like that one video I showed you last time when we were live streaming, that dude that gun blew up in his face. Like it was because the round was way too overloaded with powder and then it blew up.
Jeff says, it's like Jordan says, I'm assuming Peterson. These attitudes tend to exist only in egalitarian societies. I feel like that was a pretty good
Where
Jordan Peterson.
is he? Wait, do you have, is Jordan here?
It's like, okay, well, no, it doesn't work that way.
I'm in your walls.
Any Film says, great. Now do the protection of the mRNA manufacturers. Exactly. And she'd be like, no, there's no way Pfizer should be, or no, she would say, it's totally fine that Pfizer's not releasing the documents until 2076. That's totally fine. But the gun companies, we gotta, crazy.
Yeah, that was the video that we watched. Dad attack. That was the gun that blew up in the dude's face. That was the one that we watched.
Was it viral like that?
It was Kentucky Ballistics. Okay. Yeah.
Word up. Zuby says, i.e., if the government is not heavily restricted, not only will criminals harm people, but government piles on to the oppression and harm. Saving lives, though.
Tyranny does not, in fact.
Tyranny. Okay. Tyranny. Gotcha. I'm like, how did we get on to trans stuff? What are we? Okay. I mean, yeah, we already said this, bro.
I think you're putting way too many like hyphens, Zippy. Like it's like, or freaking. It's just
no. The commas are good. I need the commas because I need to know. But comma when you take a pause, then you put a comma. Then when you're done writing the whole thing, read it before you send it. Please, I beg of you, please, just don't make me look stupid because then I look stupid when you're the fucking stupid one.
It's very much the first step. And then I think the second step to this is, in fact, to begin producing mechanisms that would stop the gun industry from marketing. And
they've already,
you're 0 for 2, yeah.
They've already got these in place. They've already got the marketing in place to stop them from marketing.
Yep.
Using mechanisms that would stop the gun industry from marketing and profiting in the way that it's been for so long.
I think if 100,000 people were getting sick from some cereal brand every single year and 40,000 of them were dying, the government would have stepped in immediately.
And again, as we went over, that's because the cereal is not meant to kill you or make you sick.
Right. And held that brand accountable.
And again, if a gun was not working as intended, then I would say, yes, the government is justified in stepping in. But a gun shooting a bullet is what it's made for.
Yep.
And that's what we're dealing with guns and gun violence. We're losing historic numbers of lives.
It's really uncomfortable to wade into this conversation. A lot of people wouldn't choose to unless they were personally affected by gun violence or had their safety at risk.
Nope. Never been affected by gun violence, knock on wood. And what was the other thing that she said? I forget. What did she say?
Wouldn't choose to unless they were personally affected by gun violence or had their safety at risk.
No.
Have my safety put at risk. I did have a gun pointed at me, but my boy Akon stepped in front of it. So 0 for 2. You're also 0 for 2.
And so I would encourage people to sit with the discomfort because it's everybody's problem. It's not just America's problem. It's actually a global problem.
I just kind of want to draw people's attention to the fact that there have been a lot of different
This guy's been the best one. This guy's been the best one. So hopefully. All right, he's drawing people's attention to the fact that
on this panel, and yet we are very much pushing for a safer society where fewer people are killed by guns.
Absolutely. Great point. We are all on the panel and here and in the chat. We are all pushing for a safer society. But that doesn't necessarily and almost necessarily doesn't mean less guns. It almost necessarily means more guns.
This is really important for the national conversation because this is what actually drives progress as opposed to just everybody fighting on their side.
thank you all for doing this. We put some really good ideas out there and hopefully change the way people think about this issue. So thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, guys. So, what did you think about how they addressed the, how they attacked the issue just at large?
I would say the one younger black lady that was next
one
to
in the tattooed one, or the one in the other corner?
On the other corner. I would say she's got some good ideas like about why you need an AR. I'd say I honestly think a lot of them are lying about owning firearms, or if they do, like they don't use them regularly.
I don't think so, bro.
I don't
think so, bro.
I think a lot of them were lying. And then like they don't, like they talk a lot about the marketing, yet it seems like none of them know the actual marketing law.
Okay, but you didn't know the marketing law until you looked it up. So what is this is a crutch. This is a crutch to just say, oh well, they don't really know what they're talking about, bro. They know what they think they're talking about. So even if they're wrong, then it's not like these are the dumb liberal gun owners. No, these are liberal gun. This is what being a liberal gun owner is. That's what it is. There's no falsified credentials here. At least it doesn't seem so. Nothing that, and you guys would know better than, all of you probably would know better than I would. So let's make it a poll. Were any of them lying about owning a firearm? What do you think? And this is an important question, and I'm gonna actually just sit and let you guys answer real quick. Why do you think that they were faking it or lying?
Because like it's like the stuff that like when dude said like he said he was shot, and then he said it doesn't matter what type of bullet it is, if it hits you, you're dead. Like what like he doesn't seem to know any of his logic. He says like not having an AR, like it's best to run out of the house, get out of the house when you're like in trouble, like with dudes have an AR on you. Like you think like I don't think he understands anything about guns at all. Like even the most basic of like if he's actually bought a weapon and shot a weapon, he should know these basic things. Like but like obviously he doesn't. So
nothing about the technical aspect. It was more the ideology and the ideation.
Well, like what do you mean the technical? Like what do you mean? Like
saying like a bullet that doesn't come in that caliber, or aside from the entire argument about what do you need an AR-15 for? That part was obvious, but other than that, you're not saying that people demonstrated a lack of understanding that you would necessarily have to have if you own guns.
Yeah,
it's
like
just the ideas that they're talking about.
Well, no, I would say like the lack of knowledge that if you like not even the ideas, like if you were like saying like how would an AR be better in that situation? Like even the cops said that AR would be a better situation than during the Buffalo shooting. It's like obviously you don't know what the difference between a pistol and an AR is. Like what the caliber difference is. So how do you own a firearm? Like what you say you shot rifles.
Did they test you?
Yeah, no, they don't.
So this is what I'm saying. That we're split at 50-50 right now. Half of you think that these people on the panel, I mean, that guy definitely doesn't know shit about shit. But half of you guys think right now that this is all made up. And I'm telling you that if you go through life saying, oh, they must know better, you're going to fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to fuck yourself. All right? Just because you know stuff about something doesn't mean that everybody who has experience with that thinks about it as much as you do. Even if you don't think about it that much, it doesn't mean that because why would you need an AR-15 for? Does not mean that you've never fired a gun. Does not mean that you are not regularly using your gun. It means you're stupid. And stupid people rightfully are allowed to own guns. And that is a problem that we don't need to fix and turn around by taking the guns away from them. But we have to understand that that is a reality. In the same way that they're saying, well, 30 guys will never be in your house. You'll never be in a position where you need 30 rounds. You're saying the same exact thing flipped around about the notion that there would be people who are who own guns but would be in favor of holding the manufacturers accountable. That can't happen. If you own guns, you couldn't possibly think that. If you own guns, you couldn't possibly think that a misogynist or a Republican ideologue shouldn't have guns. You can't possibly think that. That's how you play yourself. These are real people with real dumb ideas. And I mean, I don't know for sure, but nothing that happened led me to believe that there was any acting going on here. So I'm gonna cut it before it goes to back to 50-50. We got 40% saying yes and 60% saying no. Were any of them lying about owning a firearm? Now again, I don't know for sure, but I have no reason to believe that that is the case. And we all have every reason to believe that it is the case that you can be this dumb, this ignorant as a gun owner. And if you don't think that's the case, then there's just going to be more and more and more and more and more of these people that you are not addressing, that you're just brushing up. They don't exist. There's nobody asking for a litter box in schools. There's nobody reading genderqueer. There's nobody going into the library to look for this. There's no drag queen story hour. That's how you lose the culture war. When people show you who they are, believe them. And that's what we just saw. A bunch of people who do seemingly own guns, use guns, and still have terrible ideas around guns. We have anything here? Nothing else. So, I mean, I feel like that is a great place to tie a bow on it. Before I go and give you the floor, Melty, last thoughts on the video and the bullshit that they were saying.
I would definitely say that you need a armed society is a polite society, and that getting rid of guns just causes other problems. You're getting rid of one problem and having more take its place. It's just there's a power vacuum that's going to get filled in the place of the guns. Whatever the next best item is what's going to take it. Even if you can take away the guns, they're still going to be there. So.
Yep, and even if you take away the guns and you get rid of a lot of guns, then the violence behind the guns is also still going to be there. Well said, sir. Thank you so much for joining me. And you know that I am definitely at a knowledge deficit when it comes to guns. So having you here definitely made the show a lot better. Can I get an M3 or a Melty in the chat for our boy here? Well, and before you go, why don't you please tell the people, in case they didn't hear the beginning, who are you, what do you do, and where can they find you?
I'm Melted Mind Media, and I help you fight the media that melts your mind. And you can find me at Melted Mind Media on YouTube and at Melted Mind on Twitter.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, thank you so much, brother. I will catch you in the after party. Definitely, guys, go follow M3 Melted Mind Media on Twitter, Instagram, all of that good stuff. Definitely go check out his channel. Let me drop that link one more time. Boom. Right in the chat. Go check him out. Hit that subscribe. And we will catch you in the after party. Thank you so much, buddy.
Peace. So,
you know, the fact of the matter is that as crazy as it might seem, that these, what are you doing? Oh, no. Jesus Christ. This dog is going to kill himself. No, you don't want to go? Then what are you doing? I'm trying to end the show here. No respect. Can't get no respect at all. All right. Yeah, I'm glad that Melty brought up that notion about, I think they're lying. Because I think a lot of people, you know, as we saw, it was only 60-40. A lot of people kind of are thinking that. But I think, and it could be possible. I'm not saying I know for sure that they, you know, I don't know any of these people. But I'm saying if you go, if you go on this idea that, oh no, those people can't be real. If you think that way, it can't be real. Then you're going to fall victim to their ideology because they know that they're out here they're on the vice panel. What the fuck are you doing? If you want to lose, go ahead and lose. But I don't want to lose. I want us all to win together. And I think we can do that. So let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and my boy Melted Mind Media. Once again, please go check him out on this platform and every other. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. And let me give a big shout out to Unwanted Foe, to Zippy the Strange, and of course the sponsor of our stream, Indiville. Thank you so much, guys. You know how much I appreciate it, and I know that there's a million other things you could be doing right now, and just whether you can part with your money or not, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're part of this is amazing. So thank you. If you have not already, please hit that subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect. He knows the show's over. Come on, bro. In the middle of the goddamn thing, the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.